We about to get it started here in a second. Well, see you everyone. Thank you for joining. Oh man, everything is shut. Okay, there you go. Yeah, now it's working for me. Yeah, OCO everyone. I'm just sending out the notifications on my phone the best way that I can. So give me a second here. Yeah, man, we got a couple things to talk about, man. See what they did to Kyrie a couple hours ago? That's a big deal, man. We got to talk about that.
OCO, freethinkers. You're now tuned into the realest historian on the planet.
This brother, he is raising some serious questions.
He's here to make you think.
What I'm trying to do is get our people to understand that we have been lied to all the way around about our history. Can you name any other group of people, no matter their skin complexion, that are being labeled primarily as the name of two continents? Not two countries, two continents. That is called a misnomer, which is the act of applying a wrong name to some person or thing.
The best teacher you wished you had in school. Have your pens and paper handy and get ready to take notes.
I want y'all to check out somebody named Dane Calloway.
Dane Calloway?
Look into Dane Calloway. He has a lot of information about how this whole shit was told in reverse. Okay, where they say, oh, we came from Africa over here. No, a lot of us was already here.
And information that was put together by a man by the name of Dane Calloway, who is also questioning the slave trade. And he's done some remarkable videos on the history of the slave trade in the United States. And he's gone back down the food chain and gone back down the line, and he's realized that a lot of the so-called African Americans in the United States are not African at all. They're actually Native Americans, because the slave trade did not happen the way we were told that it happened.
It's Dane Calloway.
Dane Calloway. Go and watch this man's channel, man. This dude is phenomenal, and he don't get the accolade and his flowers right now. You know what I'm saying? Because this dude gives some powerful information, some common sense. Go dig deep and research. Maybe even have to spend a couple dollars on research if you truth seeking. Not fact checking, truth seeking. Because there's a difference.
It's Dane Calloway on I'm Just Here to Make You Think Radio.
Turn it up. Look, 100 years after 100 years, they done lied to us about this and that. Told us all we from Africa. I made fiction characters turn into facts. Heard your time and then it was not. Knowing goddamn well that trick was capped. My wife and I wrote a book about it. It's a book with knowledge, evidence, and fact. And my other book got them haters shook, cause it's helping my people take a closer look at their backgrounds in the background, showing my people where they supposed to look. Showing my people where they get it from, where they hit it from, all sorts of angles. When it comes to this research, you must please first. Don't trust strangers. Find out all of your own. That's what I highly recommend and suggest. And if you're looking for answers and content about me, I highly recommend you the best. Which is my website at the link you see just across the screen. Don't let it miss you. I make it simple. I double down on that black and white. It's so official.
Wait a minute, wrong screen. Okay. OCO, everybody. Glad y'all can make it. You already know what we about to talk about. It's a few things I want to go over, and I have some footage I'm going to be rolling later on. It's a little late, so if you can't stay late, it'll still be up tomorrow. You know, you'll be able to see it then. Then, of course, there's going to be some other new videos rolling out after that. I think a day after that, I'm probably going to do it a day at a time. Now, before, hold on, because I'm ready to go in. But before we get started, I just want to thank you all for coming out. You all looking beautiful out there. Where you guys at? Let me know what state you representing, you know, where you residing at. I'm looking at the chat right now. Yeah, see YouTube still playing games with the feathers. Duval checking in. Columbus, Ohio. Nashville, Tennessee. Philadelphia, Louisiana. Boston. Charlotte, Austin, Texas. Jersey. Oh, whoa. It's going so fast. Hold up. Wow. All right, hold on, wait. All right, Orlando, Florida. Louisiana. Columbus, Ohio. VA, shout out to VA, shout out to the DMV. Los Angeles, California. Houston, Texas. I think that was Jacksonville. Tyler, Texas. Fayetteville, North Carolina. Las Vegas, Nevada. Birmingham, Alabama. Pittsburgh, PA. Wisconsin, Denver. This thing is moving. Y'all out here tonight. Seattle, Washington. Detroit, Michigan. Buffalo, New York. ATL, what up? Pluto. Chicago. Dallas, Texas. Memphis 10. Illinois. Raleigh, North Carolina. Chicago. What up, Chi-Town? Oh, man. Savannah, Georgia. Okay, Turtle Island. That's what I'm talking about. Turtle Island. That's what I'm talking about. Harlem. What's up, Harlem? 305 in my yayo. What up, Miami? Connecticut in the building. South Carolina in the building. Cincinnati in the building. Jamaica in the building. What up, Jamaica? Kansas in the building. Arizona in the building. What's up, Arizona? PG County in the building. Shout out to Maryland. What up, PG? Tampa, Florida. 903. Y'all gotta see. I don't know them area codes. Y'all gotta state. I don't know 903. Y'all gotta state where that's at. Oh, see, like the person said, 219 Gary, Indiana. Some of them area codes I ain't familiar with. South Pole, you lying. 614 Columbus, Ohio. Oh, 903 is Texas. 757, see, I know that's Virginia. I know 202 DC. What up, DC? Baltimore in the building. Oh man, this thing. Tulsa, Oklahoma in the building. UK in the building. What's up, UK? Cashville, Tennessee. .334 Alabama. Hold up. Man, this thing jumping. I think that was Baton Rouge 215. No, 225. 225 Baton Rouge. What's going on? Iowa is 563. What's up? 404 Atlanta. Yeah, that's well known. That's well known. 972 Dallas, Texas. What up, Texas? Long Island, Fayetteville, North Carolina. BX 212. Yeah, that area code known. See, all the big cities, like, I mean, I still consider some of the area cities, depending on, you know, the situation where it's a lot of people, crowded areas. I look at that as cities. Because if you look at the old Western movies, Even those little towns were technically cities. Everything was just tight knit. It's just built upon to make it a city where everything is close together. Same thing. Technology just got better. Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Where was that? Lehigh Acres, Florida. Greensboro, North Carolina. Bronx, New York. What up? I believe that was South. Hold on, South Central. Yeah. What up, LA? Trinidad in the building. Minnesota in the building. Cherokee City Station, Colorado. Uh-oh. What up, Colorado? Huntsville, Alabama. Oakland in the building. Who that? Oh, Utah. What up, Utah? Dallas, what's going on? Then no, that wasn't that was Philadelphia that played tonight against the other Texas team. I forgot the name of them. Yeah, Texans. Oh man, I'm tripping. The Houston Texans. That's what they call it. Yeah, I'm upset with that, like how they treated and which we about to get into. Well, his situation was a little bit different. Just because he wanted to lead the Texans, you know, they started giving him all these accusations, you know. But anyway, matter of fact, yeah, let's get into it, because I'm a little upset, but I'm gonna keep it professional, okay? I want you guys to understand where I'm coming from when situations like this are happening. The reason why I said that they are afraid of our next move. This is the reason why they're giving Kyrie Irving so much gripe over just him sharing something on his personal Twitter. Peep game. Sharing something on his personal Twitter. Like he been doing. But they pick and choose what they have an issue with. Yeah, Kanye was right. He was right the whole time, but people just, you know, they're going based off of what the narrative is, you know, what you're going to see. Oh, we got a problem with him talking about George Floyd. It's bigger than that, man. It's bigger than that. Like, people would think that Kanye or Ye out of his mind. Let me say it right. His name Ye now. They thought that Ye was out of his mind, and he was absolutely correct. He was stating everything correct. It's just the way he was doing it. His presentation could be corrected, okay? But he was absolutely correct. Now, Kyrie Irving, what you gonna say about him? Are you going, yes, he was correct, but are you gonna say Kyrie, matter of fact, let me play that right now. I hope I have that. Let me let y'all hear what he said, because I love how he said this in this response today. Hold on, yeah, I do have it. Let me play this.
Silver looking to meet in person with Kyrie Irving next week. Now, this comes in the wake of Irving's social media post about a book and movie that includes anti-Semitic material. Irving and the Nets yesterday releasing a joint statement pledging to each donate $500,000 to anti-hate causes. Kyrie Irving speaking moments ago here.
Okay, first of all, hold on. Before I play this, notice that they said that Kyrie Irving was about to pledge $500,000 to anti-racial group organizations. That don't mean they won. I just want y'all to understand that. Just listen to his response.
New on Sports Center.
With a week of hindsight, are you sorry for the hurt that your post caused people?
See, the whole point is that they want him to bow down. They just want him to say he's sorry. What he should be sorry for? He didn't say nothing. What law did he break? What did he do wrong? Actually, what did he do wrong? You mean a whole community got discouraged over him sharing a documentary that's on Amazon Prime. Why are you not coming at the Amazon? Hello? If you think it's, anti-Semitic, right? If you think something is wrong with that, why are you not coming after them? Why are you coming at Kyrie? Like I said, I'm gonna keep it professional. Hold up, my fault. I'm gonna calm down.
People.
I'll take my responsibility.
I'm not gonna calm down.
For posting that. Some things that were questionable in there, untrue. Like I said, and the first time you guys asked me when I was sitting on that stage, I don't believe everything that everybody posts. It's a documentary. So, I'll take my responsibility.
It seems like Adam Silver wanted to hear the word "I apologize." Or
yeah, so what?
In your mind, you said, "I didn't mean to cause any harm." Were you apologizing, or did you not apologize?
I didn't mean to
want him to
harm.
apologize.
I'm not the one that made the documentary.
Look, exactly. Look, they want him to apologize so
I didn't mean
bad.
to cause any harm.
And you said, "I didn't mean to cause any harm." Were you apologizing, or did you not apologize?
I didn't mean to cause any harm. I'm not the one that made the documentary.
What are the specific things in the documentary that you don't believe are true and that you don't believe represent your wrongs?
I think some of the criticism of the Jewish faith in the community, for sure. Some points made in there that were unfortunate.
Kyrie, are you surprised that you did hurt people?
How? Hold on. First of all, how did he hurt people? He did not write the documentary. He did not produce the documentary. All he did was share the documentary on his Twitter. That's it. Y'all got a problem with him sharing something. That's his personal Twitter. This is what he want to do. Hey, y'all, look, this is a movie I just watched. Y'all may or may not like it. Check it out. See what y'all think about it. As he going through a transition to finding himself. I mean, technically, because he like, what, 29, 30? Come on, man.
Surprised that I did.
But
hurt
you
people?
judging him.
Are you surprised at reaction and some of the things that you did?
He did not do. Look how they try to point it. Like you did hurt people. They try to point the finger. Once again, the documentary was done by a totally different company and a group of people that are not affiliated with Kyrie Irving. All he did was just like anybody else would do. He gave his little opinion about a movie that he watched. Whether if the movie was against a group of people ain't got nothing to do with him. But you are attacking him because what you trying to do? Trying to set an example. You see my title? They are afraid of our next move because they're trying to set an example for people that are unapologetic, just like Kyrie is, just like Yee is, just like I am, just like 19 Keys is, just like Papa Duck is. See there? Just like Elder Rawson. It's a whole lot of us that don't. We don't care. You understand what I'm saying? We're gonna state what we mean. Exactly what we saying. It's not about your feelings at that particular point. If it's information that we're putting out there, it's for the benefit of our people. Why are you paying attention so much? This ain't even got nothing to do with you. You think it's going to be anti this and anti that because you are of a certain group of people that may have a problem with certain things that we watch. And all we doing is trying to learn more about ourselves, right? That's all he doing. I'm out here providing information in form of documentary, in documentary format. YouTube had a problem with certain things that I said, took certain things down, certain things was called hate speech, and not one time did I show hate for anybody. Not one. All I did was show the history of what happened. The true history. What is it? You don't want that to come out? You feel ashamed? Is that our fault that you feel ashamed for something that you did? Oh, I don't want to hear about that. Keep that quiet. Keep your opinion to. But you got a whole news outline, a whole bunch of them. Matter of fact, a whole outlet of news
stations giving their opinion on Kyrie Irving's game and now his personal life. Same thing with Kanye. Whole record news outlets giving their opinion on Ye's music and his personal life. But you gonna say, but he chose to be out in the public. Okay, well, what happened to Brett Favre? Brett Favre used to be a pretty good quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. After he retired, reports came out that he stole money that was supposed to be given to a particular organization to feed the homeless. Brett Favre's skin complexion is pale. No, he didn't apologize. Yep, that's right. He didn't apologize not one time. And then that putting pressure on him to apologize. No, look, what he did was criminal. Is he in jail right now? Is he in jail right now? And that's not it. It's a whole bunch of those type of people that play sports. I'm going to use them as an example. That play sports. That did something that they brushed up under the rug. You know who else? Peyton Manning. He was getting, it was some reports coming out of people saying that he did some sexual wrongdoings to him. Same thing with Ben Roethlisberger. Another quarterback. Popular. Right? And they swept that up under the rug. They gave Peyton Manning, before he left, they gave him a Super Bowl. They gave him an opportunity. They gave him an out. Am I lying? This could probably be Googled. It's so easy to pull up. But you giving Kyrie a hard time for a tweet. Not something that he produced, something that he tweeted. Giving his opinion about something that he saw. So it's bigger than what we see. And this is what I need you guys to realize. It's bigger than that. Way bigger than just Kyrie against the NBA and against all these news reporters. Because who's behind the NBA and the news reporters? I mean, I'm talking about who are the people that are coming out saying that they have been discriminated against because of Tyreek's tweet. And when we come out and say that we have been discriminated against when it comes to, for example, police racial profiling, brutality type stuff, economic, systematic racism, we state what we want, and that's it. Nothing gets done. Nothing gets done, right? No pressure, no nothing. They, okay, well, get over it, black fool. Go ahead, get over it. But as little as a tweet, you gonna make this a big deal. He gets suspended with no pay for 5 games, missing thousands of dollars, if not millions, for a tweet. Look at this. Look at that. And they are a small percent of our population. They just so happen to be the richest. But guess how they getting rich? Going back, hold on, hold on. I'm gonna come back to this. It goes back to what I said here. This was a tweet. Kyrie Irving, this just proves how this system was never designed to benefit everyone. Just only a small percent of people who just so happens to be in control of the entertainment industry. That includes everything. That includes music. Keep in mind, they only allow us to excel in the arts and entertainment field and be in the forefront. Keep that in mind. Comedians, actors, actresses, sports, keep that in mind. Music, look at that, y'all.
So Kyrie Irving, this just proves how this system was never designed to benefit everyone. Just only a small percent of people who just so happens to be in control of the entertainment industry, in which our people are the entertainment, helping others get paid from our gifts. The A, which is answer, is to build our own. I've been saying this from the get-go. You gonna have Tariq and his little following gonna run down there, think they about to do something and have a little meeting to talk about a bunch of bull for 3 or 4 hours about reparations, when we need to build our own. I don't understand how y'all over 45 years old still begging our enemies basically for a handout. But you mad at me? I'm no, Dane is this, Dane is that. I'm telling you what we need to do. It's the solution. For example, and I'm gonna go back to the video. For example, if we was to build our own, okay? I'm talking about from top to bottom. Okay, no. Hold on. Let's just build our own basketball league. Who put out this idea? Ice Cube? Is anybody in this chat helping Ice Cube with his own league? And he picking up the retired basketball players here, and he got his own league. It took him a while to put it on television. I'm just saying, y'all, listen to this. But look at how they was giving Cube a hard time. And then Kanye messed up when he tried to throw Cube in it. That should have killed. Some conversations you got to keep to yourself, because that wasn't like you. I need to talk to Ye. I swear to God, I need to talk to him. He need more people like us around him. I don't know who he got around him, but they not some of them, maybe like 1 or 2, but everybody else ain't for his benefit. He need to restart his whole. He need to restart his whole camp from top to bottom. The whole point is that Cube got his own league, right? I swear to God, if Cube started a whole nother league that go against the NBA, for example, and all the top NBA players leave, what they gonna do? All them little billionaires ain't gonna be billionaires no more. Contracts gonna be lost, everything. They gonna come straight to our league, because if we are promoting our gifts, then we should have our platform, our own platform, promoting our gifts. And our own people need to support it. You need to stop turning your nose up to our own people's stuff. That's the problem. And remember that little movement on we need to support black businesses. Some of them so-called black folks be scared that you ain't gonna support them when they do it. So that, look at the money going straight back to the foreigners off of our gifts here. Look at how that worked. And we continuously letting this happen and happen and happen. All we got to do is stop right now. Just stop it right now. If LeBron, Kyrie, and just pick them. Let them walk out the NBA all at one time. Let them do it. All the people that you wish to see, or when you go watch them basketball games, watch what happened. If they all walk out and say nope, it's not even a boycott. It's Kevin. Look, if KD walk out, I swear, look. It's not, don't even call it a boycott, because the boycott mean that you eventually gonna come back if they get something straight. No, don't come back. Let it die. Let it die. Same thing with the NFL. Same thing with the NFL. Walk out. Don't come back. But how I'm gonna keep, y'all got, I swear to God, y'all got enough money to support y'all family. $1 million? Y'all got enough money. Don't try to make it seem like y'all don't. Y'all got enough. Walk out. You able to take care of your families? Walk out. How was Colin Kaepernick still a millionaire when he walked out? Or they didn't want him to come back? But he's still a millionaire. Nike was like, you know what? We appreciate what you just did. We want to capitalize off of what you just did by signing a deal with you. He ain't on no team, and he got endorsed by Nike. So if y'all was to walk out, you ain't think companies like Nike, they going see, you gotta understand. It's only a few set of Jews that's gonna be against you. Some of them not. They're gonna come running for you like, well, look, we really want to do business. I told y'all this. This is history. Pick up the book called, oh man, it's downstairs in the library. It's called, get this book, y'all. It was called African American and American Jews. Oh no, but it's called, man, baby, if you watching the live stream, go in the library for me real quick and just pull that book out. You know what I'm talking about, Howard, because I refer to this book all the time, and I'm trying to think of the title. It's called, but it's made. I mean, it was a collaborative effort to put this book together that actually shows the business side of what we went through with the. And now, keep in mind, I'm not talking about just pale faces as Jews, because that's not. See, that's what they don't want you to know. They don't want you to, oh, well, no, we only wanted to show that it was only white Jews, and no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And actually, that was a history move where they knew that some of them that looked like you and I were Jews, and they wanted to do business with us. And they still exist. And they still exist right now. And I was telling you guys that back then. I've been saying this for a long time. Some infiltration happened, some jealousy happened. They wanted to involve themselves to bring themselves up. Okay, my wife just sent it to me. Oh no, that was my mother. Oh, okay. Nah. Okay, there go my wife. Yes, okay, she sent it to me. She sent me a picture of it. It's called Bridges, Boundaries, African Americans and American Jews. Get this book, y'all. Bridges, Boundaries, African Americans and American Jews. It's a big book, don't get me wrong. You're gonna be reading for a while, but I think it's very important for you. And Kyrie, if you're listening, get the book. I think it's very important for you guys to understand the relationship that, and it's a reason why they're called, and matter of fact, that book's title changed, but they called it American Jews for a reason. And see, the anti-Semitic part, me and my wife are gonna go over in a different video, because you guys need to understand what that means. And I think that's what we need to emphasize and do it on a historical I'm talking about on terms in a historical sense. And nobody should be feeling like they being violated, because that's not where we're going with it. You see it on Amazon? Yeah, it should be. It should be everywhere books are sold. This is a well-known book. Well, I'm not gonna say it's a well-known book, but I'm a book reader. It's well known to me. But yeah, I had to understand the relationship, because see, everybody automatically misinterprets what Jews are because of what they're familiar with. They automatically think that it has to do with pale complexion people, and that's it. And that's not true. That's not true. That's not true at all. Just like we were already here, it's a lot of colored, whatever you want to say, melanated, whatever, colored versions everywhere, okay? Everywhere. So, but that's what Kyrie was learning. This is the reason why he said, okay, wait. Oh no, yeah, I mean, because, he started tapping into his Hebrew and, wanted to learn the religious side of it, just wanted to learn more information. he typed in something and was like, all right, let me see if I can get some more information about this online, sort of documentary. And he was like, oh, and that's exactly what he said in the video. Not this video, in the video before. In fact, I got that video. Hold on, matter of fact, hold on, I got that video too. I think I got that video. Let me see. Yeah, let me play this. Let me play this.
Philippians 2:11. And my name translates in the Hebrew language as Yahweh. So I went on the Amazon Prime. I was like, you know what, let me see if there are any documentaries on Yahweh. So went in the search bar, typed in Yahweh, that came up. Went out and shared it on my platform. That was my night. In terms of the backlash, or what people call it, we're in 2022. History is not supposed to be hidden from anybody.
Thank you.
And I'm not a divisive person when it comes to religion. I embrace all walks of life. You see it on all my platforms. I talk to all races, all cultures, all religions, and my response would be, it's not about educating yourself on what Semitism is and what anti-Semitism is. It's really about learning the root words of where these come from and understanding that this is an African heritage that is also belonging to the people. Africa is in it, whether we want to dismiss it or not. So the claims of anti-Semitism and who are the original chosen people of God, and we go into these religious conversations and it's a big no-no. I don't live my way like that. I don't live my life that way. Excuse me, I grew up in a melting pot, and I say a melting pot of all races, white, black, red, yellow, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, and you can see the way I live my life now. I'm not here to be divisive, so they could push their agenda. I don't want to say they, because I'm not identifying any one group or race of people, but I'm in a unique position to have a level of influence on my community. And what I post does not mean that I support everything that's being said or everything that's being done, or I'm campaigning for anything. All I do is post things for my people in my community and those that it's actually going to impact. Anybody else that has criticism, it obviously wasn't meant for them.
Hopefully I'm understanding what you said, and I want to make sure I get it right because I don't want to misquote any part of it.
I don't expect understanding from a media conglomerate group that sincerely talks about the game of basketball, and then we bring up religion as if it's correlative at times when it's convenient for people to bring it up.
On it all of a sudden.
So please just be direct with your question, so we can move on from this and I can talk about the game and go home to my son Elohim and my wife Marlene. Okay.
Am I to take it that this was what you shared was not something that you've even watched? This was you did watch it, or either watch it or read it.
I had a lot of time last year to read a lot, read a whole bunch, good and bad, about the truth of our world.
So then do you, I guess, understand or not understand those that might imply that that work had anti-Semitic leanings in it? I only ask this because the tweet is still up there, so
we're in 2022. It's on Amazon, a public platform. Whether you want to go watch it or not is up to you. There's things being posted every day. I am no different than the next human being, so don't treat me any different.
Right.
You guys come in here and make up this powerful influence I have over top of the adultery of, oh, you cannot post that. Why not?
Why not? That's a good question. Look, and then they cut this part out. Y'all saw that, right?
I don't hear uproar on that.
Hold on.
I'm not here to be divisive on what's going on this. I don't hear uproar on that.
I wonder what he said. If anybody know what he said right there, they could get something like that wasn't edited. Whatever that was said right there was cut out. That's very important. I want to have that. I wonder what he said. But
I'm not here to be divisive on what's going on this or that. I'm not comparing Jews to blacks. I'm not comparing white to black. I'm not doing that. That conversation is dismissive.
And by the way, they did the same thing to Dr. Martin Luther King. They cut out a whole bunch of what he said when he said he led his people to a burning house. I have that entire segment. But they even, and it's unedited except for this one part where he started talking about reversing white supremacy. They did the same thing to him.
And it constantly revolves around the rhetoric of who are the chosen people of God. And I'm not here to argue over a person or a culture or religion on what they believe. No, this is what is here. It's on a public platform. Did I do anything illegal?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did I do anything illegal? Did I hurt anybody? Did I harm anybody? Am I going out and saying that I hate one specific group of people?
Nope.
So out of all the judgment that people got from me posting, I just, without talking to me, and then I respect what Joe said, but there has a lot to do with the not ego or pride of how proud I am to be an African heritage, but also to be living as a free black man here in America, knowing the historical complexities for me to get here. So I'm not gonna stand down on anything that I believe in. I'm only gonna get stronger because I'm not alone. I have a whole army around me.
And and so do I. And another thing is that he has a right to his own opinion. He has a right to his own belief. He can state what he want to state. What's the problem? Because technically, with him not stating anything, just reposted the doc, what was the problem? Nobody's really stating the problem. All you're doing is repeating to him that they have problems with what's in the documentary, but you taking it up with the wrong person.
While we're on the topic of promotion, why did you decide to promote something that Alex Jones said?
That was a few weeks ago. I do not stand with Alex Jones' position, narrative, court case that he had with Sandy Hook, or any of the kids that felt like they had to relive trauma, or parents that had to relive trauma, or to be dismissive to all the lives that were lost during that tragic event. My post was a post from Alex Jones that he did in the early 90s or late 90s about secret societies in America of occults. And
it's true.
It's true.
Absolutely.
I wasn't identifying with anything of being a campaignist for Alex Jones or anything. I was just there to post. And it's funny.
It still exists right now.
And it's actually hilarious because out of all the things I posted that day, that was the one post that everyone chose to see.
So notice how it went from the documentary to him posting about something that Alex Jones posted in the 90s. So they're trying to build a case around it to make it seem like he's trying to do something wrong. And he not. Alex Jones in the 90s, he said he saw that, and actually I haven't seen that, so I don't know what he's talking about, but we know secret societies exist. That is true. So apparently they had an issue with that just because of, what Alex Jones has done after that. Okay? So he cleared that up.
The way our world is and works. I'm not here to complain about it. I just exist.
And to follow up on the promotion of the movie and the book.
Can you please stop calling it a promotion?
They
What am I
call it
promoting?
promotion. Nothing.
Put it out on your platform.
But I'm promoting it? Do you see me in front of
putting it out there,
the title?
people are going to say that you are
Yeah, I put it out there just like you put things out there, right?
Yeah, but it's not
You put
stuff,
things out there for a living, right?
Right, but my stuff is not
so let's move on.
filled
Let's
with
move on.
anti-Semitic.
Let's move on. Don't dehumanize me up here.
I'm not doing
I'm
that.
another
You're
human
free
being.
to post
I can post whatever I want, so say that and shut it down and move on to the next question.
But Kyrie, you have to understand that
I don't have to understand anything from you.
It's not me.
Nothing.
It's
no people that you're making up, bro. Move on.
But by posting
move
what
on.
you
Next
did,
question.
Anybody
Do you guys have any more questions for
and
me?
they're going to say,
you guys have any more
does he have
questions? Because this is going to be a clip.
beliefs?
This is going to be a clip that he's going to marvel at.
But he
Is this any more questions?
But you're not answering the question.
There's another answering the question. Oh my God!
No,
Let's
see,
make
his
another
question-
Instagram clip. So
Hold on. His question was, does he have anti-Semitic beliefs? But he already said that he doesn't. He can't be anti-Semitic. All he's doing is learning about it.
we could be famous again. Next question.
Kyrie, basketball related.
And he out of there, right? So let me go back to the other one. So this was earlier today.
Adam,
I'm gonna jump up.
For the hurt that your posts cause people.
I take my responsibility for posting that. Some things that were questionable in there, untrue. Like I said, and the first time you guys asked me when I was sitting on that stage, I don't believe everything that everybody posts. It's a documentary. So I take my responsibility.
They calling his posts anti-Semitic.
I apologize, or in your mind, you said I didn't mean to cause any harm. Were you apologizing, or did you not apologize?
I didn't mean to cause any harm. I'm not the one that made the documentary.
Exactly.
What are the specific things in the documentary that you don't believe are true and that you don't believe represent your wrongs?
I think some of the criticism of the Jewish faith in the community, for sure. Some points made in there that were unfortunate.
Kyrie, are you surprised that you did hurt people?
Surprised that I did hurt people?
Are you surprised that reaction and some of the things that you did hurt people?
Like who?
Yeah, I think I can ask a better question. It's just, where were you when I was a kid, figuring out that 300 million of my ancestors are buried in America? Where were you guys asking those same questions when I was a kid learning about the traumatic events of my familial history and what I'm proud to come from and why I'm proud to stand here and why when I repeat myself that I'm not going to stand down, it has nothing to do with dismissing any other race or group of people. I'm just proud of my heritage and what we've been through. And the fact that this has pinned me against the Jewish community. And I'm here answering questions of whether or not I'm sorry or not on something I didn't create.
Right.
Something I shared, and I'm telling everybody I'm taking responsibility, then that's where I sit. So, these same questions that you guys ask, me dealing with it as being a melanated, pigmented person all around the world and dealing with racial biases against my skin color, demeaning me because of my religious beliefs, and I'm still sitting in the seat standing. So I take my full responsibility. Again, I'll repeat it, for posting something on my Instagram or Twitter that may have had some unfortunate falsehoods in it. But I also am a human being that's 30 years old, and I've been growing up in a country that's told me that I wasn't worth anything, and I came from a slave class, and I come from a people that are meant to be treated the way we get treated every day. So I'm not here to compare anyone's atrocities or tragic events that their families have dealt with generations of time. I'm just here to continue to expose things that our world continues to put in darkness.
Yep.
I'm a light. I'm a beacon of light.
Let's go.
That's what I'm here to do.
Let's go, Kyrie. Hey, first of all, oh man, I'm gonna drop some more bombs on that right there, man. I'm a beacon of light. I'm light. That's why when you see my videos start, you see the Thunderbird coming through all of that weather and all that darkness, and it open up his wings and out comes the light. That's what I'm talking about, man. See, that's what I'm about. That's exactly what I'm about. That's exactly what I'm about, man. But you want us to be quiet, huh? Why? Why you so scared? Why you for what do you think our next move gonna be? You so scared, huh? You don't know what our next move is. That's why you want us to come out and, oh no, well, you want us to be all apologetic. Like you want us to submit. You want us to belittle ourselves and swallow what? Because it's not necessarily, it's more than just pride. I'm gonna say it like that. It's a bit of pride in it, but it's more than just pride. It's about what makes us who we are. It's about what we stand for today. Regardless if my brother's saying, African this and that, I'm still gonna stand beside him. You know why? Because he's still my brother. He ain't say nothing bad about me. And in fact, there's a lot of stuff that he said and have did that we could correlate with each other. We could relate. I said correlate. We could relate. So, of course, I'm going to stand with my brother. And I don't see anything that he did wrong. First of all, it's not his doc. I'm going to keep repeating that. And he kept repeating that. Why y'all not bringing the hate towards the creators of that doc? Why are you getting on Kyrie specifically? Because he just so happened to repost it. You got an agenda. You afraid.
About basketball, I give you my expert opinion. You guys ask me about other things, I give you my opinion, and it's met with whatever you believe the perception or the deception is. You guys investigate my life every day, and you justify it by serving your own purpose, which I honor. I would like the same respect in return, figuring out just like anyone else. So please keep that same energy when we're talking about anti-other things.
That's right.
Because just because I posted a documentary doesn't mean I'm anti-Semitic, and doesn't mean that I'm automatically standing with everyone that is believing in that. So
right.
It's unfortunate timing that we're in, but I'm glad that I could stand on the truth, because I'm not afraid of these mics, these cameras. I used to be looking everyone in the eye and telling them the truth. and I'm proud of who I am.
That's right.
Any label that you put on me, I'm able to dismiss because I studied. I know the Oxford Dictionary, you look it up, right? One of the biggest mistakes I had in being a kid was not knowing European or Western language. Until I started looking it up and understanding the definitions and why they say, if you want to trick a black person, put it in the book.
Put it in the book.
Just wondering,
Hey, Kyrie! Talk to him!
my whole life why they said that. Now I'm 30 years old and I know reading is a superpower because it helps me understand where I'm going and where I come from.
That's right.
Like a tree with roots.
Like a tree with roots.
Kyrie, the documentary listed among falsehoods. It said the Holocaust didn't happen. Do you believe the Holocaust
those falsehoods
happened?
are unfortunate. And it's not that I don't believe in the Holocaust. I never said that. Never, ever
Not
have
one
said it.
time.
It's not come out of my mouth. I never tweeted it. I never liked anything like it. So the Holocaust in itself is an event that means something to a large group of people.
And there was a Holocaust that happened here
something
too.
That could have been avoided. No one said we had to practice racism. No one said we had to treat each other like garbage. No one said that I had to stand here today and understand that many people that come from generations 60 years ago, 40 years ago, enslaved some of my ancestors still spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and it's still going on. You guys are asking me respectfully to speak on something that was a documentary that I had nothing to do with. I didn't make it. So just please keep that same energy when you guys are addressing me.
That's right.
For the record, do you have any anti-Semitic beliefs?
Again, I'm gonna repeat. I don't know how the label becomes justified because you guys ask me the same questions over and over again. But this is not gonna turn into a spin around cycle of questions upon questions. I told you guys how I felt. I respect all walks of life and embrace all walks of life. That's where I sit.
I think what people want to hear, though, is just a yes or no on that question. Yes or no.
I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from.
Ho. Drop a bomb for that. He know where he stands. That's a big message. He's saying a lot just by saying a little. He's saying a lot just by saying a little. These foreigners that's interviewing him don't understand. But see, they trying to break him. They trying to get him up out of his character. They trying to attack him. Okay, with so many questions, and all they doing is repeating it just in different ways. And he repeating his answer just in different ways. And also sprinkling in a lot of truth in there in order to get his message across to us. To let him know where he's staying. As far as himself, he letting everybody else know where he's staying. And he talking to the people to let everybody else know where he's staying. And it's the reason why I'm going to be here today, regardless of what YouTube do. I would still stand with Kyrie. Regardless. Number one, he ain't do nothing wrong. Number two, he ain't do nothing wrong. Number three, repeat 1 and 2. Now I can understand if he did something wrong, but he didn't. He didn't. He straight up told you what his agenda was. What his agenda was to learn more about the words that was Western European words. Remember he said the Oxford Dictionary? Notice how me and my wife in our documentaries, we use Oxford and Webster. Remember my last doc I just put out day before yesterday, we told you about Webster. Noah Webster Jr., the one that created the first dictionary for America, right? The American dictionary. But of course it was Europeanized. So a lot of that stuff was borrowed from our people. Remember they said that he had to learn 26 different languages in order to construct English. Y'all saw that, right? And the 26 different languages was from here, nowhere else, here. So when somebody say you speaking a foreigner's language, tell them no, you not. You just speaking their version of our language. This is ours. And Kyrie's learning that. Everybody else is learning that. And it's okay because these brothers are, he's a few years younger than me, but that's good that he on the right path to, you know, to learn more. And there's nothing wrong with that. And this is the reason why my wife and I are still gonna produce those videos so you guys can know what this means, what this agenda is in full detail. Where is it coming from? Why are they doing this? What's their end goal? The reason why is because the more that we know, the better. The more that we know, the better. We could address some things behind the scenes. We could change the makeup of how they're trying to steer the direction onto, are we anti this and anti that? How can we be anti anything? That's just like saying that we're racist. How can we be racist when our people suffered and theirs didn't? Not here. They were running from oppression and came here, and our people allowed them here. We said, okay, y'all running from who? All right, well, y'all gonna have to stay right there. You got that bit of land. And y'all got greedy. Don't forget that. Y'all came from somewhere else. We were already here. We had relationships with everybody. We had relationships with everybody in the business aspect too. This is the reason why they wanted to take control over the trade that was amongst the Mississippi River. This is the reason why still to this day they dropping dynamite on the Mississippi River to redirect it so it could be closer toward their outlook and their reach where they could control it by remote control, because they're not even here. The group that is here are just standing in place as managers, guards, governors. That's it. And they hand orders to these managers, guards, governors, and they have to make their job more easier for them by doing investigations on the Mississippi River, trying to do predictions on the Mississippi. That's another doc we got to put out, huh? They got to know what's going on. They got to know what's going on. We can't, because once again, ain't nobody talking about this. Yeah, y'all could talk about the Mississippi River all day long, about where it is and blah, 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 blah. I'm talking about why. Why was that so important for these foreigners? How were they able to communicate? How were they able to communicate back and forth with other foreigners in a different country? There's the next documentary that you're gonna see me put out. I'm about to put out their signal. I'm gonna tell you how they had a signal to welcome other foreigners. Let them know, hey, it's safe here. This is the safe route. Come this way. Watch. In full detail. That one is gonna be pretty long. Get ready for it. Every single one of these joints you gotta understand because of what time it is right now. The time that we're in right now. They're trying to make it seem like it's the worst, but it's not the worst for us. It's the worst for them. Because remember when I told you that their population has been dying ever since they got here. This is the reason why they manipulate the numbers by way of the U.S. Census Bureau. They count every foreigner as white, even if their skin complexion is darker than you and I. It's a reason behind that, because if they're a dying breed, they're going to notice, they know, they already predicted that we're going to be back in control again. That's why I said it doesn't even have to be a war. It doesn't have to be, because technically they are the minority right now. That's what I want to play. Hold up. I'm glad I mentioned that. Oh, let me take this down. It's called the Mandela effect. Hold up. Let's start right here.
In today's society of America, many people are undergoing a benevolent process of changes in their life by decontaminating the poisonous traditional forms of indoctrination and overcoming the complexity of its burdensome physical and psychological, nearly permanent effects. By unlearning, or rather deprogramming, the information taught throughout compulsory educational institutions of yesterday and today. Whereas a fact is literally based on the one-directional formatted belief of an individual's opinion, which may seem harmless to those who are satisfied with taking someone else's word for it, versus finding it out on their own through the process of diligent researching. By undergoing this process, an individual will soon discover that there is an actual difference between a fact and truth, and that most popular things that we were all taught in these compulsory educational institutions or by word of mouth that are considered to be a fact were never true. And with this new light form of discovery comes a positive change. And with this positive change comes an energetic realization of the actual truth, which adamantly reveals these multiple malicious hidden agendas surrounding what we call history, various forms of science, and even down to the English language, just to name a few. And speaking of just that, it is essential to recognize and master the understanding of the English language, because it can hold a person mentally captive merely by the misunderstanding of a word's definition, especially when it pertains to law, education, or even social science. There is a big reason why when a person recalls or names each letter of a word, that gesture or process is called spelling. The underlining word in this sense would obviously be spell, which could carry a variety of different essential meanings within itself. The majority of people would recall.
This particular video is about 3 or 4 years old. So, I mean, yeah, I just went over the English language in full detail in like a day or two ago. I think it was a day ago. So if you want to hear the full details, go to that video, that most recent video. This one is just break it down spell, but it's going to get into the point that I'm making.
The most popular definition of spell, which pertains to writing or naming the letters of a word correctly. While on the other hand, the not so popular or rather uncommonly used definition of spell pertains to words that has magical powers, to say the least, but usually in a negative sense, because what you do is mentally and physically out of your control. What I mean by that is, your thoughts and actions, or rather your reality, is completely dictated and heavily influenced by the spell of the words you speak. Literally. This is why you would hear the saying, be careful what you wish for, because a person can play that same spelling trick of the English language amongst themselves inadvertently. We find this type of trick, uncommonly known as the Mandela effect, in the thinking that a particular...
It's the reason why I called it the Mandela effect. Because if you're familiar with the Mandela effect, of which they tell you the Mandela effect is something that you're familiar with being one way, but it was actually another when you go back and see it. You're like, damn, man, I could have sworn I was looking like this, but is this? Things have been changed without you looking.
A word means one thing, and yet, truthfully, it would dangerously mean another, regardless of a person's opinion. The word minority is a very good example of that, and it also details why the so-called African Americans are labeled as the minority group here in America.
That's right, yeah, because they changed.
For example,
that's right, Dominic.
The Webster's Dictionary defines the word minority as a, quote, group that is the smaller part of a larger group, in which this definition could serve as the means as to why most political figures, news reporters, or even bigoted individuals, etc., for labeling the so-called African Americans as the minority group. In this case,
see there? See how it's still going? It still happened. They basically trying to label Kyrie as racist.
The word minority relates to a particular population size, marking the so-called African Americans, or rather the indigenous American Indians in this sense, as being the least amount of people who makes up the United States population. And the spell, or rather the trick of this side of the minority definition, is that the so-called Black Americans would just simply take someone's word for it and let it slide without any backlash. See, no one challenges the reported numbers of the US population by race, In fact, they would say things like, I mean, why waste time doing that anyway? They can't be off by a significant amount, right? I mean, come on. They are the government, for Christ's sake. Why would they have a reason to lie about something so inadequate? My answer to that would be, that's just like deeming the statement, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie, as a fact. Whereas the information behind the creation of those numbers literally derived from men or women. So if they lie, then so can numbers, right? Think about it. Now, if Margaret Sanger, who is the founder of Planned Parenthood, implemented birth control pills in the United States during her eugenics formatted population program called the Negro Project of 1939, in order to alter the population growth of only the so-called African Americans, then would that indicate to you that the so-called African Americans are the minority population of race in America, or not? Now let's take things a step further and look closer into the word minority. At a time where the Homestead Acts of 1862, 1866, and 1909 were implemented into what was known as, quote, the laws of the lands. The Homestead Acts of 1862, 1866, and 1909 were implemented into what was known as.
Hold on. The reason why is because those three were the same Homestead Acts that Martin Luther King was talking about. And right now on my Shorts channel, that thing is about to hit 1 million views when I pointed that out. Because now people are noticing what Dr. King was talking about. Because I'm pinpointing it. I'm showing you what he was talking about because he didn't get a chance to put it on screen. Okay? Now, eventually, I mean, I have before, but eventually I'll go over it again. I'll go over the Homestead Acts again, each one of them. Okay? And show you what happened, how they confiscated our lands and turned it into... or handed it over to the squatters that was squatting on our land. Remember when I told you the squatters had to stay in teepees? The squatters had to stay in tents? Think about that. If you're camping, listen to that. If you're going out to camp, you're staying in a tent because technically you have no, I mean, unless you rented a hotel. Remember how the hotels came in? I'm gonna go into that too, but before the hotels came in, they were staying in tents. Keep that in mind, y'all. Not us, they were. We had the constructions already built. We just didn't welcome in into our door. Okay? We didn't trust a stranger to stay in our house. So them squatters had to stay in teepees.
Quote, the laws of the lands, as a means to forcefully, fraudulently allot lands of America or Turtle Island, originally owned and occupied by our indigenous ancestors, to those newly incoming pale-faced foreigners immigrating from parts of North.
That's Ellis Island. And it's more because they held so much information about this, y'all. I'm gonna go over this. This is them coming in. Watch.
West, and especially South Africa, like Europe, for example, to America by the millions, according to the 1790 U.S. Census and beyond. Now, before I go any further, you can recall that I have stated numerous times throughout my previous documentaries that everything was told to us in reverse, and where Europe is actually located is not excluded as an example of my statement. What I mean by that is, Europe was purposely predicted, or rather placed at the top of all other countries, displayed in Mercator world maps and other maps shortly thereafter, for a very particular reason. And that reason is due to
the Mercator projection has fostered European imperialist attitudes for centuries and created an ethnic bias against the Third World.
Salvatore Natoli of the National Council for Social Studies argues, in our society, we unconsciously equate size with importance and even power. In our society, we unconsciously equate size with importance and even power.
When third world countries are misrepresented, they're likely to be valued less. When Mercator maps exaggerate the importance of Western civilization, when the top of the map is given to the Northern Hemisphere, and the bottom is given to the Southern, people will tend to adopt top and bottom attitudes.
So, no, Europe is not where you think it is. In fact,
nothing is where you think it is. Where is it?
I go into more informative detail about that in my documentary called The Untold Truth, about why history was told to you in reverse. That is
now, of course, this is old. Once again, I think this is over 5 million views now. But back then, this is when I was trying to tell people that, yeah, it was told in reverse a long time ago. And matter of fact, my book is out. My wife and I's book is out right now called It Was Told in Reverse. You could look that up. Man, look up the book, read the book. If you're a book reader, in which I highly recommend that you should be, okay, brush up on this information that I've been giving you. Everything is in the book.
It's a documentary that I highly recommend all people to watch in order to understand what I'm about to state next.
That's another thing I'm gonna go over. That's the reason why I've been holding that back, because I know it's gonna hit hard.
Now let's go back in time a little to the years of 1913 and 1936, at a time when land acts were adopted into law in South Africa. Now what's very important to note here is that these laws are very identical to the Homestead Acts in America that I mentioned earlier. They were called the Native Land Act of 1913 and the Native Trust and Land Act of 1936, in which these particular land acts allowed for the territorial segregation of the Native Africans and made it illegal for them to work with the white Afrikaners as sharecroppers, meaning they could no longer share their lands, crops, and other resources with the white Afrikaners, who spoke a Dutch-created foreign language called Afrikaans, in which they paid a fee in order to continue to be tenants of the native Africans' lands. Through the passing of these land...
Hold up, people are saying it's skipping. Oh man, they doing that. They doing that. They doing that. Can y'all hear me? It's skipping. Hold up. See there? This what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Every time I go into something real deep, they do something stupid like that. Every time I go into something deep. Kyrie apologized. I'm on his Instagram. Where he apologized at? Did he apologize on Instagram? Because I don't see it. Every time I go into something deep, they do some stupid stuff like that. And then they will in turn hoping that people will go away, you know, as far as the viewership is concerned. Because I saw 3,600. Now it dropped down. Okay. So every time it go up, they think if it's a bigger number, they'll try to take it down by messing up my stream. That's not me. But yeah, I don't see his apology, y'all. Let me see. Hold on. Let me keep looking. Okay, I see it. No, he did apologize. He did. It's on his Instagram. It was just a black picture. He apologized about, this was 25 minutes ago. He said, while doing research on Yahweh, I posted a documentary that contained some false anti-Semitic statements, narratives, and language that were untrue and offensive to the Jewish race religion. And I take full accountability and responsibility for my actions. I'm grateful to have a big platform to share knowledge, and I want to move forward by having an open dialogue to learn more and grow from this. To all Jewish families and communities that are hurt and affected from my posts, I'm deeply sorry to have caused you pain, and I apologize. I initially reacted out of emotion to being unjustly labeled anti-Semitic. Instead of focusing on the healing process of my Jewish brothers and sisters that were hurt from the hateful remarks made in the documentary, I want to clarify any confusion on where I stand fighting against Wait, brother. What you just did, okay. All right, anti-Semitism, by apologizing for posting the documentary without context and a factual explanation outlining the specific beliefs in the documentary I agreed with and disagreed with. I had no intentions to disrespect any Jewish culture history regarding the Holocaust or perpetrate any hate. I'm learning from this unfortunate event and hope we could find understanding between us all. I'm no different than any other human being. I am a seeker of truth and knowledge, and I know who I am. Kyrie. Okay. So he did apologize. I'm still trying to figure out, like, every time that something like this happens, where are they? Where are they saying that they were offended? Like, who's coming out? Because the only time I see people coming out and saying that they were offended are our own people going on ESPN and all this other stupid stuff stating that Kyrie need to apologize, like leaning on the people, okay, and to forcefully trying to get them to apologize. But how come we ain't getting no apology from the police officers that killed George Floyd, for example? I'm just saying. We ain't getting no apology from the officers that killed Eric Gardner. We ain't getting no apologies from the George Zimmerman guy. We ain't getting no apologies from the government. This is the reason why y'all still asking for reparations, but the government never took the initiative to take on. See what I'm saying? The responsibility of what their previous government did, in which they are still running by. Okay? Yeah. Nah, George Zimmerman never apologized for Trayvon Martin. And this government never apologized for what they did to our ancestors by putting us into a deal that only worked out for their benefit when it was supposed to work out for both of us, because if it wasn't for us allowing them here, they wouldn't be here, as far as this government is concerned. Now, keep in mind, if they got their independence in 1776, okay, and they didn't start kicking tail as far as the government is concerned until the 1850s, that means it took you a long time to get up and running, because the majority of your people that were coming over here were dying because our ancestors, the majority of them, were not willing to help them. So that does in fact mean, yeah, and the officer that killed Mike Brown, they're not apologizing. But that does, to go back to what I was saying, that does in fact mean that some of our ancestors did in turn help you guys out. And there were some deals that were constructed by way, they were called treaties. There were some deals that were constructed that were never signed off, okay? Because you guys had the power of the pen at that time, as far as the government is concerned. And you're still holding these records as if these things are valid, but yet no benefit is coming back to our people because of that. None. Absolutely none. We're not getting nothing. Not a damn thing. But yet you want us to apologize for something that we didn't even do. He's apologizing to the Jewish community. But you're not going after Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon. You're not going after the people that created the documentary. You just straight up going after Kyrie because he shared it. But that solves the problem for you. Here, and we're going to suspend him for 5 days with no pay. But what about the people that's working 9 to 5s are getting told that they're a nigga this and nigga that, and they getting, slid. They getting pats on the hand. Everything getting brushed up under the rug. You don't see them getting suspended for 5 days with no pay. You don't see them getting indefinitely suspended from their job. and they be in managerial positions. What about the people that are in higher up positions that are exploiting our community with a bunch of BS, basically bad sociology, telling us what we should call ourselves, telling us what happened to us when they were foreigners that weren't here. But just because they were educated in the so-called best university, that's more creditable? Who gave you permission to call us black? Who gave you permission to call us African American? Who gave you permission to call us anything that we're not? Show me a statement that we made, any one of us that we made, stating that we want to be called black or African American by way of paperwork, not by way of some promotional campaign that you did for some political purposes in hopes that you would gain more clout from our people so you could up the ante on the Dixiecrats. See, I know what happened during this time period where the script was rewritten to work out for your benefit only, and you constantly put our people down. I honestly believe that nobody is owed an apology from our people when we didn't do a thing to them but help them. They should be apologizing to us. Where's the apology? For what was that lady that that police officer pulled? I think her name was Sandra Bland. No, Sandra Bland. Where's the apology for that? What about the young lady that was I believe she was a nurse, and her boyfriend was in the house sleep, and the police bum rushed in the door? What was that young lady's name? And they killed her? Well, how come the police officers ain't apologized on public record for that? But I want to say her name. What's her name, y'all? Breonna Taylor. That's right, Breonna Taylor. Where's the apology for that? There's so many people that we could go down the list about. And then on top of that, keep in mind, it's more situations than just that, because now these police officers are wearing cameras on their chest. But ain't no telling what was happening back then when there was no cameras on their chest. Absolutely none. Yeah, it was no apology for Trayvon Martin. It was hush money. It was hush money. So not only did he have to apologize, Leo Cohen or Cohen, whatever, like he knew for a fact that that wasn't his position to have control over the hip hop industry and what should go out. Who put him in charge? Yeah, no apology for Philando Castile. No apology for these people who were innocent, that look like you and I. No apologies from the state. No apologies from the state governor. No apologies from their police department. Tamir Rice, that's another one. But they want Kyrie to apologize for posting a tweet. And then the pressure is, you know what the pressure is? The pressure, hold up, this junk going red. Oh, come on, YouTube, stop it. YouTube trying to throw things off. But anyway, they use our own people against us to put, that's the pressure that they do. And then they want everybody in the comments to have their opinion on the person that's coming after Kyrie. Multiple people coming after Kyrie. Like that basketball player. This I know he was getting paid for this. That was coming after Yee. Talking about Yee was saying this and saying that about George Floyd. Keep in mind, in both incidents, Kanye was giving his opinion about a documentary that he saw. Did they come after the person that created the documentary? No. Kyrie gave his opinion about a documentary that he saw. Actually, he didn't even give his opinion. He just shared it. Did they come after the people that created the documentary? No. Look at the pattern. Look at the pattern. Now, when I come out with full-fledged documentaries on Amazon, I wonder what's going to happen. And that's happening regardless. So get ready, buckle up. All my docs are gonna go straight there. One thing I can say about Amazon is that they don't discriminate as far as what's being put on the platform, especially when it comes to education, because I'm pretty sure, and I'm gonna have to watch it, but I'm pretty sure they're not gonna allow straight up racism on their platform. I'm sure they're watching it before they post it. I mean, there's no way that they don't watch that before they post it. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't think it was just blatant racism inside of that documentary. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to find out myself. And if it is, I'm going to come out and say it. Oh, wait a minute. No, this documentary is all over the place. But they didn't come after the creators of that documentary. No, yeah, Candace Owens. Candace Owens created that documentary against the Black Lives Matter and used the George Floyd situation. And they came after Kanye for commenting on it because of something that he was told by way of the documentary. She got attacked? I don't see that. Not the way Kanye did. But yeah, I just read off Kyrie's apology. And that's unfortunate. And I don't even know if they want me to play this video because every time, I'm gonna try it again. But apparently, this is one of them joints. Like, you can't call this anti-Semitic because this ain't got a new. Like, and this is another reason why I had to come out with a video about what that means. Because people are misinterpreting what that means. They think that whatever that is going against the Jewish community, and that's not what that's about. That's not what that's about. Like, and think about that, y'all. Think about that. Why would we be coming after the Jewish community? What would be our intent? Let's try to make that make sense. I mean, right is right and wrong is wrong. So if we're pointing out somebody's wrong, that don't mean that we're going after an entire community when we actually putting the blame where it need to be. Like, for example, you can't say, oh, Kanye West is wrong and the whole so-called black community is wrong because of Kanye. You see what I'm saying? So you apologizing to the whole Jewish community because what? 1 or 2 people got upset? And who are these people? How come they didn't come out and say anything? Are they so scared to show their face and say, hey, yeah, I was offended by that? What's up with that, y'all? No, he did apologize, y'all. I read it off. It's on his Instagram. He did apologize. At first, I didn't see it, but it's there. It's his last post. He apologized. It was, at that time when I read it, it said 25 minutes ago. But I'm on his Instagram. He apologized. Here, let me refresh it. This is probably going to tell you. Now, I was saying 38 minutes ago. Yeah, it's on his Instagram. 38 minutes ago. He sure did. I'm gonna screenshot it. But at the same time, they forced him to do it. They put the pressure on him. And you know why? Because our people are uneducated as to the reason why we should be having his side and his back and his front. Because he technically did nothing wrong. Just because he posted something that he didn't create, something that he saw, something that wouldn't be his PR doing that. His PR would, let me explain something. His PR would construct what needs to be said, but that would be Kyrie saying, go ahead and do it. Like a PR can't put stuff out without the person's permission. All they doing is there to be public relations. Period. They're there to craft the wording and go over it with the individual that hired them. Okay? I know what a PR does. They just don't come up with anything and say, I'm gonna do it for them. No, they gotta come back to me and show me what it is before they post it, or they could be fired and lose their job and lose their credibility as a PR exec. PRs don't got that type of power. Like where they just jumped the gun. Nah. He did that. That was him. The PR probably just scripted it and went over with Kyrie. Technically, that's Kyrie saying that. He approved it. Now, once again, he lost thousands to millions of dollars because he's suspended without pay. But I want that same energy. And I swear, and see, this is the problem that our people have right now. We're not holding everybody else accountable. Like, as far as our people, we need to be held accountable for all actions that go against our people that we know is not right. We should be there to stand with him. Because it was people that was behind Brett Favre that saved his ass. It was people that was behind Peyton Manning that saved his ass. It was people that was behind Ben Roethlisberger that saved his ass. These people got to go on with their careers. But they trying to shut Kyrie down for a post on Twitter. Not because he actually physically did something to somebody, but they're trying to say that he caused more harm to a whole community because he posted something that they deemed anti-Semitic. But if you deem that anti-Semitic, if that was the case, you should be coming after the people that created it, not Kyrie. So it doesn't make sense. You're trying to belittle our men that are out there and outspoken, and which you would call alpha males. A lot of people call me an alpha male because I talk like this on camera and in people's faces. I'm not afraid of nobody. And it's not about being afraid of somebody. If you want to get out a point, you're going to get out a point and make sure it's perfectly clear. And don't allow nobody to cut you off when you're giving that statement. And don't allow nobody to misinterpret what you're saying by trying to twist up the narrative to fit their own in order for them to get clickbait and get paid off for what you just stated to them. And they just sitting there news reporting. But if I'm the news and you're reporting, then you need to shut up and listen to me and write down what I say, right? You can't only ask questions. You can't give me suggestions. You are not in my camp to tell me what to do. You're not my mother or my father. When I create my platform, and the reason why it is the way it is because I did it, I did the work. Kyrie is where he is right now is because he put in the work. Apology to who exactly? So you're gonna put it on the whole community when not one person of the Jewish community said anything. All you got was the news reporters talking. And they were all shades of the color brown and some pale faces that didn't say, hey, yeah, well, I'm a Jew and I got something to say about it. Ain't nobody, I would love to see that if somebody would come out and say, look, I'm a Jew and I got offended about that. Look, I need y'all to straighten that out, man. Like, you know. And then, you know what we would say? The reason why they're not trying to say nothing is because the next thing would be, well, why don't you take it up with the people that created that documentary? That would be the next thing. That would be the next step. Why are you coming at the Kyrie as if he made it? And then he gets suspended for a post. Like, how is that even feasible? Like, is that in his CBA? Where you can actually suspend him for something that he posted on his Twitter that ain't had nothing to do with basketball? I mean, maybe he can sue the NBA. Like, for example, remember the guy that was the head coach of Miami? And he was of color? And I forgot the gentleman's name. Y'all probably gonna say it. But the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I think he's suing the NFL because he said that the owner, he alleged that the owner was telling him to lose all his games. And he was being chastised for actually putting that information out. And they was trying to outcast him from having to be from getting another job in the NFL, and all he was doing was telling the truth. Now, by the way, the coach of Pittsburgh Steelers picked him up, and I forgot his name too. Yeah, Brian Flores. That's the coach name that I'm talking about. But he got picked up by Pittsburgh. And on top of that, how come we don't see a lot of coaches who are of color? Why are these billionaires afraid to work with them as coaches? Like, how come they're not general managers neither? How come the only positions you giving them are the ones that are of talent? Yeah, Mike Tomlin. Tomlin is the coach of Pittsburgh. And he hired him on his staff. And I don't know what position he's in, but he's on his staff. Yeah, but Tomlin is a good guy, you know. But I'm just saying, a lot of people, and Mike Tomlin also came out and said that he was getting a lot of backlash just because of the position that he was in. But look how long he had that. And I'm upset because it should be more than just him. It should be, I'm talking about what? We could count on one hand how many coaches of color there are right now. But yet, there are thousands of coaches who are Caucasian, no matter their religious belief. And I get that, right? I get that. But when is that going to change? Now, keep in mind, if it don't change within, then it could change without. Just to go back to what I said before. If they actually had a problem with us and they're actually suspending our players, like our brothers like that are actually putting in the work to get things done and entertaining, and they getting paid off of his back, okay? Walk out. Walk out. Create your own. Create your own. It ain't gonna take too much. If 5 or 6 of the top NBA players walk out and all put together $2 million apiece to create $2 million apiece to create their own league, everybody gonna go there. But it gotta be the top players. The reason why is because it still gotta be entertaining to our people. The majority of the people that's gonna be watching, it's gonna be everybody because they're fans of that particular individual. Now, in the NFL's case, you don't actually get to see the person, so you don't actually develop a relationship with that person unless they're a high-profile wide receiver, a high-profile defensive lineman, or defensive back rather, or a high-profile quarterback. And the majority of the high-profile quarterbacks, especially of the last era, were all Caucasian. Okay, and the ones that was doing some dirty work, some dirty stuff, they brushed that right up under the rug. It was mentioned, but they brushed that right up under the rug. No, don't worry about that. You still gonna get a championship. You still gonna be held high. You still gonna be put in the Hall of Fame. Now, all of a sudden, you putting a bad taste in Kyrie's mouth and on his legacy. That's being purposely done. And all he was doing was entertaining the people and helping y'all, as far as the Nets organization and the NBA, get checks. Because you wouldn't have no checks if those top players wasn't there. Your team will be trash. And that's Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. If they go, what's gonna happen? You're gonna try to look for the next one. And it's the reason why they try to hurry up and get them out of college to change their life. Here, look, we're gonna give you $4 or $5 million right now to play for us. Meanwhile, they making $4 or $5 billion. That's why anytime I see somebody get a big check, every time that person signed for such and such, I be like, man, that person should have signed for more than that. Because actually, I mean, okay, what did the owners deserve? Why they deserve to have the most when they actually not doing no work? The people that's actually doing the work, see how that look like slavery, y'all? Like they still technically got a 9 to 5, just getting paid a little bit more. This is the reason why I said we got to stop it, period, by creating our own. There's nothing wrong with having our own leagues. There's nothing wrong with, it's nothing stopping us from having our own leagues, our own government, our own cities, our own towns, our own states. If they could do it, we could do it. There's nothing against that. There's nothing against doing for ourselves. There's nothing wrong with being segregated. We can intertwine with each other later on, but we got to be segregated in order for us to get up. In order for us to get up, we could just stop talking about all the wrongdoings right now and get straight to it. We know what we got to do. We got to do it on our own. All these ideas that are out there right now, they got from our people. And capitalize on it. Ran to the goddamn office to hurry up and put a little patent on it. No, I'm going to do it too. Creating their own leagues. And keep in mind, the NFL and the NBA was non-profit organizations, right? Non-profit? And the only way you're supposed to be getting profit is by taking donations. So if they selling tickets to an event, you see how they did it? The same way they do in church. If they have events, you selling tickets. And that's tax-free. Hold on, bro, y'all getting cake, man. And these boys out there working their tail off. And yeah, look at my team, y'all. Yeah. And meanwhile, all these owners working together. Even in the NFL, they all working together. They got a whole conglomerate. They got a whole club. It's a clubhouse for them. And they work just like secret societies. Yeah, legal hustles. I agree, legal hustles. Yeah, selling wolf tickets. They go Connie. Connie. Yeah, they out here selling wolf tickets. The whole time, our people falling for it. But just imagine if we do it on our own. We could capitalize on this capitalist society on our own. And that will bring us up. We will have way more say-so than we do right now. It wouldn't be no, oh, we need to apologize. It would be, oh, whoa, we need to work with them. They're gonna be like, yo, can we get in line? They're gonna be wanting to work with us. But y'all can't turn y'all nose up when y'all start seeing people doing stuff like that. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Young Thug, for example, Young Thug was getting ready to create his own city. As soon as he started talking, they said that they saw him talking to Elon Musk and trying to get comfortable with him and start rubbing his hands with him, rubbing his elbows with him so he could learn how to, buy land in bulk and build his own city. That was his own thing, right? And as soon as he pinpointed that, boom, they took him out. I'm gonna go back. Young Dolph owned damn near 20 properties, 20 houses. You know what he was gonna do? He was gonna create his own city. You know what they did to Young Dolph? Paid some niggas to knock him out of there. But this the reason why we can't just announce stuff like that. We got to do it behind the scenes. Yeah, Nipsey tried to do it within his own hood. They got him out of there. Oh yeah, Dolph was a big businessman. Big time. And so was Thug, believe it or not. Thug was giving out money galore in multiple communities. Low key. And that wasn't something that he was bragging about. But as soon, and I swear he made a mistake by trying to do that on Twitter. And, rubbing elbows with Elon and talk about buying land. I was like, ugh. When I saw that, I was like, bruh, you should have said that behind the scenes. But I was like, that's a bet. Let's make that happen. Boom. They got him up out of there. Now he in jail. And probably not even gonna come out. But this is what we need. Those Black Wall Streets they said was Black Wall Streets. We need that's what need to happen again. We need to do it behind the scenes. I tell you all the time, you could join the 13% server down below. There's more stuff that's going to happen. I'm not going to announce that. It's going to be more than just the server, of course. You click that link below and start talking amongst your peers. That's thinking just like me. That's thinking just like you and actually trying to get stuff done. But there, we do got to have some form of communication where we can actually do that. Now, I'm going to be eventually adding more moderators to that because there's more people joining. But right now, moderation is there. And, you know, everything is safe and secured, is encrypted. Okay? I know what go in, what go out. I got my eye on it as well. I know who is who, what is what. So, but at the same time, stuff got to get done, guys. Once again, there's nothing wrong because there's no law stating that we cannot build our own cities, our own towns, our own states, our own businesses, our own schools, creating our own jobs, building our own infrastructure. We could do this. And only take and we got a lot of millionaires amongst us. There's a lot of millionaires, but we got to put at least 2 million. Take 10 people to put 2 million to the side, start it up. We could start a bank right then and there. 10 millionaires, put 2 million aside, boom, start a bank. I disagree. Land is not cheap at this time. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's a little bit pricey right now. But, you know, I still think that we should be able to get this done. But it's a little bit, like, you know what? Let me tell you what. I'm gonna tell you something. It depends on where it's located. It depends on where it's located. But certain things that I was already looking into, because once again, I got my own plans too. Don't get it twisted. We gotta, yeah, it's some ghost towns out there that you could purchase. You can slap your own name on it. You can create your own street names. You can create your own. It's time, y'all. It's time. And bring your whole family there to stay. And everybody build off of each other. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's the reason why we gotta stop the killing of each other. I'm gonna get into, and may he rest in peace, take off. May take off, rest in peace. I'm gonna get into that in another time because that's a, ooh boy, that's a totally different situation. But our brothers and sisters need to see a way out because they think that the only way out is through arts and entertainment. But they need to see that there is a form that does work. Yes, like networking, not necessarily squatting, not necessarily e-commerce, but it is networking that does work. There's a form of networking that does work where we don't necessarily have to physically be together, but we have to be on one accord and build our own network remotely. It could be you out there in New York and I'm out there in Cali, but it has to be on one accord. This is where the agreement part has to come in. But we have to program our people in order to understand that type of agenda. Just like how our younger generation and all the way up to my age and probably past that are programmed to think that gangster music is the music that is the most popular. But yet you got a particular group of people behind that is promoting that. They saying anti this, anti that, but just like ye said, when our folks talk about killing each other, it's okay. And they banking, I'm talking about billions of dollars off of the industry. Off of that. Off of that alone. But once again, like I said, it's nothing wrong with working with Jews because it's not all of them that stand against certain things that we would like to get done. So I wouldn't turn my nose up to that because you can't put everything on everybody. It's not certain. Okay, for example, my agenda might not be your agenda. You see what I'm saying? So you can't say just because my agenda is my agenda that all of the people that follow me agree with my agenda. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't necessarily say that. But as far as the programming is concerned, it's beyond school, and it's about teaching right now what we doing, because everybody has gravitated towards social media. I think it could be presented right here, but it has to be on the back end. It can't be out to the public. It got to be out to certain people that's actually trying to get it done. And make sure that program stretches within families for generations. That's what I think should happen. Because right now, trying to put it out in the forefront, letting them know the game plan, everybody would, you know, the enemies come in various skin complexions, meaning that you can't tell who the enemy is. So as soon as you put your stuff out in the forefront and make it public, they're coming after you to try to shut it down before the wheels get rolling. That's what we have to prevent. Like, for example, they got rid of Dr. King as soon as he announced that he was coming down to Washington to come get that check. And he wasn't talking about as far as reparations concerned. It's because he knew that the government owed us when it came to them confiscating our land. Sound? Y'all can't hear me? See? Hold on, my wife just texted me. Y'all can't hear me? Y'all can hear me, right? Okay, yeah, all right. But it's that simple. What I was about to show you in this video, and I think they may have a problem with this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save this video for another live stream so I could break this down. Okay? And this was actually going to be a warm-up to most of the stuff that's going to get put out as far as being new is concerned. I'm going to do it. Look, if it start breaking up, y'all let me know, okay? Y'all let me know. And let me just, because I really want to do this right now. So I'm going to start from right here so it could be a refresher. If it start breaking up, then I'm going to have to save it for another time. Here we go.
1913 and 1936, at a time when land acts were adopted into law in South Africa. Now, what's very important to note here is that these laws are very identical to the Homestead Acts in America that I mentioned earlier. They were called the Native Land Act of 1913 and the Native Trust and Land Act of 1936, in which these...
So can we hear that? Was it breaking up? Did they do anything to it? We good to go? Let me give you a roundabout of what this is about to go into. It's about to go into the Mandela effect. Okay? And what I meant by that, like, you thinking one thing looked or did or said, or you thinking one thing was one way when it was actually another. Loud and clear? Okay. Okay. Just like you thought that minority had to deal with us being people of color. Remember when I told you before I went into this, hopefully you guys were here during that time, before I went into this video, the last thing that I said was that a particular group, which are the Caucasians, had been a minority for a long time. This is the reason why you don't see the numbers, the end results of the 2020 census right now, because they are the minority right now when it comes to population count. There are more, and I put that video out as well. There are more people who are of Caucasian descent dying more so than being born. That is the absolute truth. That is the absolute truth. And what they're doing right now, and it goes back to what I was saying as far as Kyrie is concerned, what they're doing right now, their agenda is to soften our people up, especially those that are like me, that are the ones that you want to call alpha males. To silence them, soften them up. Even though they're more outspoken, more unapologetic, they want us to shut up so nobody else would step up because they're afraid of the next move. This is the reason why I said in the title, they're afraid of our next move. So they're making examples of those that are not afraid of them. And Kyrie's one of them. And it proved my point, because here it is. However long ago that was, now 40, 45 minutes ago, he apologized on his Instagram. Make an example out of him, suspending him without pay for 5 days. This gotta stop, y'all. This gotta stop. But the only time, the reason why I'm saying that is because Kyrie would need our people in general to be behind him. Not the ones that are being told what to do by their producers that have to do that in order for them to keep their jobs or they will be fired. It will be, okay, well, look, what about our own news outlets that will attempt to control the narrative for our people? I'm gonna say that again. What about our own news outlets that would attempt to control the narrative for our people? Because the people that are out there right now on these news stations, even ESPN, all the rest of them, and they look like you and I, they're being told by producers what to say, what to do, what not to say, what not to do. So, and they seem like they're going against Kyrie, but in their mindset, in the back of their mind, they like, damn, I stand with him. He didn't do nothing wrong. But yet they, some of our people call that cooning. They get on there and, yeah, and Kyrie but he needs to apologize because people have suffered and blah, 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 all this stupidity. But yet, where is that same energy when it comes to our people going through something when it's anti-us? Huh? Where y'all at? How come y'all get quiet when it come to anti-us?
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up out of your sleep.
Rule laugh.
All right. Let's go.
Now let's go back in time a little to the years of 1913 and 1936, at a time when land acts were adopted into law in South Africa. Now what's very important to note here is that these laws are very identical to the Homestead Acts in America that I mentioned earlier. They were called the Native Land Act of 1913 and the Native Trust and Land Act of 1936, in which these particular land acts allowed for the territorial segregation of the Native Africans and made it illegal for them to work with the white Afrikaners as sharecroppers, meaning they could no longer share their lands, crops, and other resources with the white Afrikaners, who spoke a Dutch-created foreign language called Afrikaans, in which they paid a fee in order to continue to be tenants of the native Africans' lands. Through the passing of these land acts, along with several others shortly thereafter, it allowed for more than 80% of these already inhabited lands to be cleared of native Africans and sold at a very cheap rate to white Afrikaners only. During this time period, the traditional society of South Africa had been infiltrated by way of industrialized governmental policies and many other operational forms of white supremacy.
These premises and the amenities thereof have been reserved for the exclusive use of white persons. I'm showing you the signs, what they were doing out there in South Africa. This should sound familiar to you guys. I remember when I went over that live stream and the guy from Africa, oh man, I forgot what part of Africa he's from, but he was over here in America and he was telling you that the same thing happened in South Africa. He wasn't lying. The same thing that happened here happened there. Watch.
Upon the creation of these land acts, the birth of apartheid arose simultaneously. Side note, apartheid means separateness, or rather a state of being pulled apart. This is when the money-hungry white Afrikaners wanted to divide the native South Africans in order to decrease, or rather quell, their economic and political powers. With these laws now in place, the all-white Afrikaner National Party was established in 1948.
Hold up. In my old videos, I was going slow and fast at the same time. So, yeah, Afrikaner National Party. No, but that's not. Yeah, but you seeing a party right now, but I wanted to go back to this picture. Okay. There's, oh, this is not the one. But I have, okay, I got to remind myself, note to self, I want y'all to see this, but my logo's in the way. Note to self, I got to pull this picture back up at a later time. I didn't know my logo was blocking it. Once again, this is an older video, so I apologize.
With these laws now in place, the all-white Afrikaner National Party was established in 1948, which they created an all-white government that helped to rapidly enforce all pre-existing and future regulations and policies of racial segregation, to include the previously written, quote, laws of the Land Acts that I mentioned earlier. Did you catch that? Listen closely. Once the non-white South Africans, or the native Africans, were forced off of their own lands and removed out of their own homes and placed on reserves, similar to today's Indian reservations or plantations, or what we know now as the public housing areas found in North America's ghettos, for example, the non-white South Africans were also forced to work industrialized jobs in order to single-handedly build up South Africa into a capitalist society. What's very noteworthy.
Okay, hold on, y'all. That's so important, y'all. One more time. That's so important. Before I go further,
did you catch that?
And I'm gonna give you the records.
Listen closely.
Well, you can look it up.
Once the non-white South Africans, or the native Africans, were forced off of their own lands and removed out of their own homes and placed on reserves, similar to today's Indian reservations or plantations, or what we know now as the public housing areas found in North America's ghettos, for example, the non-white South Africans were also forced to work industrialized jobs in order to single-handedly build up South Africa into a capitalist society. What's very noteworthy here is that the Population Registration Act of 1950 was implemented into law.
Now, hold on, y'all. Once again, this is my old one. If you are taking notes, I apologize. I am going to pause because my older videos, I wasn't necessarily working with the timing of things. Like, I was just trying to put the information out. Population Registration Act of 1950. Please write that down. Buffering? No way. Don't do it. Don't do it. We gonna get through this. We gonna get through this. It paused. We back? We good? Can y'all hear me? Yep, it is. All right, it's back. Hopefully. Hold up, but let me know if everything okay. Now, notice how it hit 4,100. Look at what they did, y'all. 4,100 people was watching. Look how many people watching now. It went from 4,100 in 5 seconds. It dropped down to 3,300 in 5 seconds, from 4,100 to 3,300. So they did something to my stream to shake everybody up, to draw their attention off and move them away. I'm not doing that. You're gonna get through this. Regardless, YouTube, they gonna see this if you don't take this down. No, I saw it. It said it was 41K on my side. 4,100. I said 41K. I wish. Here we go.
Registration Act of 1950 was implemented into law, very identical to an American law enacted in 1972 called the Equal Employment Opportunity Act, which allowed for a person to self-identify themselves in order to ensure that they were not being discriminated against because of their race, nationality, or disability, etc.
Now keep in mind, this was in South Africa. I know this sounds familiar, and I'm going to state that. I'm going to state that the Equal Opportunity Act, Equal Employment Opportunity Act. Notice how this sounds just like ours, y'all. Look.
Implemented into law, very identical to an American law enacted in 1972 called the Equal Employment Opportunity Act, which allowed for a person to self-identify themselves in order to ensure that they were not being discriminated against because of their race, nationality, or disability, etc. The PRA, or rather the Population Registration Act of 1950, was used to identify and classify all South Africans by categories. These categories were Bantu for the native South Africans.
Hold up. Whoa. Now that's important. I'm noticing a lot of Pan-Africans were saying that they were Bantu. Keep in mind that that was a discriminating term. Derogatory term used for discrimination. These are the categories. Okay. Look, and there's recent. See, this is the stuff that they not giving y'all. Yeah, no, they dropped my number. Whoa, they dropped my numbers way low. Woo, YouTube hating. Woo, YouTube hating. Man, that's not me. Once again, that is not me. I'm talking about from 4,100 to now 17. They tripping, man. I'm going to continue on because regardless, they go see this later on.
Population Registration Act of 1950 was used to identify and classify all South Africans by categories. These categories were Bantu for the native South Africans, Colored for the mixed South Africans, and the Afrikaners were classified as white, while a fourth category was added for the East Indians and Pakistanis, labeling them as Asian. This method of fraudulent misclassification and land robbery by way of these land acts and laws only assisted and ensured that the white Afrikaners received the most fertile lands available in their region through government parental rights or ownership of set majorities by way of treaty rights or constitutions and other trickery, which in turn allowed for the sale of the already owned and occupied lands of the native South Africans to be handed over and or sold to their white oppressors. Also, these Afrikaners captured the mindsets of the native South Africans by the creation and cultivation of a false ideology that forcefully implemented laws through religious societies, also known today as the viral establishment of the institution of the church, which lawfully granted the husband or the eldest man of a family as the head of the household by law systematically. This methodology segued into the creation of laws that recognized ownership through the male of the household only. Furthermore, by then removing the head or the male from within the home by way of war, jail, or death, the government was able to...
They messing with my stream, y'all. Now, I'm seeing a lot of y'all saying that now they making it buffer. Now it's skipping. Okay. All right. So what about now? Is it back now? Everything, a lot of stuttering. We back now? Ooh, they messing with this, man. They playing ads? What you mean? This is a live stream. It's going back up now. Yeah. Because they probably distracted. See, that's the thing. That's what YouTube do. That's what YouTube do. YouTube will distract the crowd. I'm telling you, I saw 4,100 on my side. And as soon as it hit that type of number, they try to suppress it. They'll do something. You said they was playing ads? Nah, and I'll see you, Layla. Layla. Catalaya. Commercials keep coming in. Oh, more than one person saying that. See that? Look, all I'm doing, y'all see what I'm doing. Y'all see what I'm doing. Yeah, it was 40. No, I got it. Matter of fact, it's on this side. It said 41 on my side. And as soon as I said 41, whoop, it dropped right down. And it started shaking up the screen. So apparently they don't want y'all to see this, y'all. But I'm going to keep going regardless. You know, for the people that are just seeing this, keep in mind this is a live stream. If you coming back to see this, during the time of me airing this live, they were giving me trouble. So I apologize for the breakups and stuff. I'm going to come back a little bit. See, they trying to see, and that's going to throw the people off when they come back and see it. So let me come back to the categories one more time. Let's do this.
Because of their race, nationality, or disability, etc. The PRA, or rather the Population Registration Act of 1950, was used to identify and classify all South Africans by categories. These categories were Bantu for the native South Africans, Colored for the mixed South Africans, and the Afrikaners were classified as white, while a fourth category was added for the East Indians and Pakistanis, labeling them as Asian. This method of fraudulent misclassification and land robbery by way of these land acts and laws only assisted and ensured that the white Afrikaners received the most fertile lands available in their region through government parental rights or ownership of set majorities by way of treaty rights or constitutions and other trickery, which in turn allowed for the sale of the already owned and occupied lands of the native South Africans to be handed over and or sold to their white oppressors. Also, these Afrikaners captured the mindsets of the native South Africans by the creation and cultivation of a false ideology that forcefully implemented laws through religious societies, also known today as the viral establishment of the institution of the church, which lawfully granted the husband or the eldest man of a family as the head of the household by law systematically. This methodology segued into the creation of laws that recognized ownership through the male of the household only. Furthermore, by then removing the head or the male from within the home by way of war, jail, or death, the government was able to acquire the lawful rights to the quote, abandoned lands under the color of law. Does any of this sound familiar yet?
Woo! They did the same thing here. They did the same thing here. The exact same thing. But the big deal, though, is what I'm going to show y'all right here at the end of this. The big deal. Please pay attention.
Allow me to repeat this again. The great majority of the native Africans were living on their lands and decided to share some of it to farm with newly incoming white Afrikaners of Dutch descent, which in turn made them sharecroppers. However, these land acts removed these natives to reserves and forced them into industrial servant laboring positions for the white Afrikaners, or rather known today as slavery. Unfortunately, this form of deceptive methodology had been implemented along with several other occurrences in multiple locations since the start of this so-called Mandela effect. And it is the true aftermath or outcome of being a minority. Woo! Now you can see how a lot of the similarities to what we now face here in America is not a coincidence, being that we are the direct descendants of the indigenous Aboriginal Niji of this land now called America. And how our historical timeline directly correlates to this similar timeline that I'm about to go over, which was planned and carried out by the same white Afrikaners who immigrated by the millions to the Americas during the years of the Homestead Acts, when subsequently laws were created to give them our farms.
Hold up.
At the very same time.
Ooh, listen. Hold on. I don't want them to do nothing to me. Hold up. Because I know they did something to me the last time I played this. I'm going to play it.
That America refused to give the Negro any land. Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. Which meant that it was
Listen.
Now called.
Hold on, y'all. He was telling
to
you
the Americas during the years of the Homestead
they don't
Acts,
like this. They don't
when
like for me to play this.
subsequently laws were created to give them our farms.
at the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land. Through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm, with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms, in order that they could mechanize their farms, in order that they could mechanize their farms.
In order that they could mechanize our farms. He's clearly telling you.
Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, we're...
Y'all know what he about to say, right?
Coming to get our check.
Now
let's hold on. The reason why I played that is because that was the, and by the way, this is going viral on my other channel. It's almost at 1 million views. And it's the reason why I know they got a problem with this, because they were sending me messages about it. So that's why I took it off, okay? Long story. We don't even got to get into it right now. But they have a problem with this. Okay? Out of all of these years, I've been playing this clip. They got a problem with it now. Okay? I'm just letting you know that right now. They don't want this out.
Go over the timeline of these laws and acts that you probably never heard of before it somehow disappears from the internet and other primary sources.
Nah, not the reparations check. He's referring to the land. Okay, the entire conversation that he was having was always referring to the land. People were misinterpreting it as if he was just coming to get our check as far as reparations, like they need to repair something. No, he said that they owe us a check because they stole our land. That straight up, that's basically what he told you. At the same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land. That was by way of the land grants. Remember, I told you 3 land grants and I broke them down. Now, I'll pull that video up. It's too late to do it now, but I'll go over it during another live stream where I broke all of those land grants down and told you and showed you. Actually, I put them on screen and showed you how they were confiscating our lands and handing it to foreigners, the squatters. And remember, he said, which meant that they was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they receive the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. This is all about land, y'all. Not only that, today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm. And they are the very people telling us that we need to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps. Now, when we come to Washington, and this campaign, we're coming to get our check. That's what he's referring to. Everybody was misinterpreting that. And actually, one of the reasons why I went viral on YouTube is because I pointed that out. I pointed it out in multiple videos. The video that I broke down the Homestead Act is over 3 million views. It's still on my channel if you can see it. The one where I went over his speech was almost at 1 million. No, look at how they doing my numbers now. They was like, hold up, people paying attention. Let's bring these. Listen, any weapon formed against me won't ever prosper. Any weapon that is formed against me won't ever prosper. Period. Okay?
These acts include the Black Land Act of 1913, formerly known.
Hey, write this down. I'm giving y'all all the acts that they did in South Africa, y'all. All of them. All of them. There's all of them. I'm giving you all of them. I got all of them. This is top to bottom. The timeline of these laws and acts of South Africa, I'm giving you all of them. They did the same thing there, here. I'm talking about write them down.
Probably never heard of before it somehow disappears from the internet and other primary sources. These acts include the Black Land Act of 1913, formerly known as the Native Land Act of 1913, the Development Trust and Land Act of 1936, formerly known as the Native Trust and Land Act of 1936, the Unbeneficial Occupation of Farms Act of 1937, the Colored Persons Settlement Act of 1946, the Asiatic Land Act of 1946, the Black Affairs Act of 1959, formerly known as the Native Affairs Act of 1959,
the Rural Colored Areas Act of 1963.
The Group Areas Act of 1960.
I had audio trouble right there. I had to get rid of that part because it was messing up. That's how you can tell this was an old video.
Formerly known as the Native Affairs Act of 1959.
The Rural Areas Act of 1963.
The Group Areas Act of 1966, and then finally the Black Communities Development Act of 1984, in which many of these fraudulent acts were repealed and removed on June 30th, 1991.
Look, woo, hey, look, hold on, calm down. Look, it was repealed and removed. And on June 30th, 1991, if y'all don't pay attention to me, pay attention to me right now. I'm telling you how they did it.
30th, 1991, with the abolition of the Racially Based Land Measures Act.
Look, hold on, oh my God, I was moving. Oh man, I may have to do this over. I moved so fast on this. Write this down. Write this down. This is it. This is how they changed the script. And they could not take over them the indigenous South Africans. They couldn't take them over because they got back control of their government. Woo! It's over. This is all we need to do. If you pay attention to me, I'm telling you what we need to do. It's that simple. Watch.
Measures Act. Now, how did the native South Africans put a stop to slavery, you ask? Well, I'll explain. The Native Land Act of 1913 and the Native Trust and Land Act of 1936 were only the start to a much larger plan to be carried out. But it became increasingly difficult after the South African apartheid, in which Native Africans decided that they were no longer going to work for their white Afrikaner oppressors at all.
Y'all heard that?
After the Native Africans decided to no longer work.
Listen, because this is true. This is true. Listen.
Native Land Act of 1913 and the Native Trust and Land Act of 1936 were only the start to a much larger plan to be carried out. but it became increasingly difficult after the South African apartheid, in which Native Africans decided that they were no longer going to work for their white Afrikaner oppressors.
So after the apartheid, the whole thing changed. They said, nope, they pulled the plug. You hear me? What I say that Kyrie got to do? What I say our brothers and sisters got to do? They said no. Straight up. They said no. And stop working for them. It's that simple.
At all. After the Native Africans decided to no longer work, this delivered a winning blow to their oppressors, which set into motion these acts to be removed on June 30th, 1991. And it was then that other motions were set in place here in North America, which in turn reveals the true Mandela effect.
Okay, because they did the same thing here, but we let them get away with it.
Well, now to a fascinating and significant story the media have all but ignored. South Africa is a diverse country, but the South African government would like to make it much less diverse. An embattled minority of farmers, mostly Afrikaans-speaking, is being targeted.
What Tucker say? What Tucker say?
Diverse country, but the South African government would like to make it much less diverse. An embattled minority of farmers, mostly Afrikaans-speaking.
Mostly Afrikaans-speaking. Remember, these are the Afrikaners. The correct pronunciation is Afrikaans, but Afrikaans-speaking, that was their tongue. These are the people that he's referring to. One more time. Go ahead, Tucker. Go ahead. What you say?
The media have all but ignored. South Africa is a diverse country, but the South African government would like to make it much less diverse. An embattled minority of farmers, mostly Afrikaans-speaking, is being targeted in a wave of barbaric and horrifying murders. But instead of protecting them, the government just passed a law allowing it to seize their farms without any compensation based purely on their ethnicity and distribute those farms to more favored groups. Thousands have already migrated out of the country, but they've struggled to attract any sympathy abroad for some reason. Ernst Roots is deputy CEO of AfriForum. It's a South Africa civil rights group. He was just in the United States to meet with a number of government officials. He also took a moment to talk to us. Here's part of what he said. Ernst Roots joins us.
Now, so what they did was the Afrikaners were trying to come over here to the other Afrikaners. Remember, I told you about that. They came over here too, but they started in the 1800s. 1844 to be exact. It's called the Native American Party, the Know Nothings. I told you about this already. I'm gonna say it again. That was the third largest political party during the time period of the Federalists and the Whigs. The Native American Party. The Know Nothings. They were a bunch of Afrikaners. And they spoke Afrikaans. Their origin is Dutch or douche. Douche. Some of the Dutch told me to say douche because that's how they pronounce it. Douche.
Now, Mr. Roots, thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much.
So you describe in this book a disorganized but in some sense intentional campaign to crush a racial minority within your country, and the government seems on board with it. Is that an overstatement?
Well, what the book is about is it's about government complicity in the scourge of farm attacks and farm murders that we've seen in South Africa. So we know in the last 2 decades there's been, according to government statistics, which we believe we have reason to say that it's maybe downplayed a little, there's been about 2 farm attacks every day and 2 farm murders every week in South Africa. And in the book I highlight actually 10 different reasons why we believe the South African government is complicit. And it stretches from reasons including the fact that as these attacks have worsened, for example in 2007 there was a 25% increase in these attacks, and then the South African government responded saying we're not going to release any more statistics about this. Then also, which is very concerning, is the the hate speech in South Africa. So we have, that's the title of the book as well, Kill the Boer, which is a very popular song, which is still being sung in South Africa. It was sung just the other day. So it's sung at political rallies, and of course Boer referring to a particular cultural group in South Africa.
Right.
We have songs like Shoot the Boer, which is a different song. So there are a variety of ways in which we.
But I thought that hate speech was now a crime punishable by prison time in South Africa. Are any of the people who say this arrested?
Well, there's a bill on the table to have hate speech declared a crime punishable by prison time. But if you look at the motivation around this, it's very clear that I think those in government who are pushing this don't regard this as hate speech. As a matter of fact, they've been arguing that it's not hate speech in court. So they would argue that they have a right to sing about killing farmers, and then they would say it's an expression of freedom of speech.
So now the government has announced that it plans to pursue a policy of taking land away from people on the basis of their skin color. Do you think they'll do that?
Well, that's what was adopted in our parliament in February. A motion was adopted that the property rights clause in the South African constitution has to be changed.
So let's go over this really quickly. So what they did was, after they took over their government, they were confiscating their lands back away from the foreigners that came over there that tried to adopt their culture and become South Africans. So they are outnumbered now by, as far as the population is concerned, and even their own government's rules and regulations. So they came to the United States for help.
To allow for expropriation of private property without compensation. So the state president, Cyril Ramaphosa, said that this would turn South Africa into the ultimate paradise and the Garden of Eden. And Deputy President David Mabuza even went further, saying that, basically threatening white farmers that if they do not voluntarily hand over their land to black people, then there would be a violent takeover. So the situation is very dire in South Africa. But the good news is that there's still a process that has to be followed, and that's why we are in the United States.
What I find so striking is the response from everyone else around the world is almost never covered in the American media. There's a sense that the people being murdered deserve it because of what their ancestors did. And the international...
Listen to what Tucker threw in there, and it pissed him off a little bit. Listen.
What I find so striking is the response from everyone else around the world is almost never covered in the American media. There's a sense that the people being murdered deserve it because of what their ancestors did. And the international community is similarly silent. Have you met with any government officials here in Washington about what's happening in your country?
Well, that's why we are here. We are about to meet with some government officials, and it's very unfortunate, the situation that you've just mentioned. So there's, especially in South Africa, there's a hierarchy of recognition. So some people, when they are the victims, it's all over the news and you hear about it frequently, and other people, as especially, I think, especially farmers in South Africa, white farmers in particular, when they would be tortured to death and it would receive very little news coverage, and that's unfortunately the situation abroad as well, which is why we are very grateful to be having this.
So a government official in Australia said publicly, maybe we ought to allow asylum to people being persecuted for their skin color in your country. And he was basically laughed at and then attacked by your government for saying that.
Yes, he was attacked, and they then said that he shouldn't say that because AfriForum was providing them with false information, while the information that we are quoting is government statistics. So that is the situation.
So they were looking for help from even Australia, and the government, the South African government, provided the information to the Australian leaders and told them, no, they're being provided false information by the white Afrikaners. Here's the truth. We already took back over our land. We were, they tried to take over, but we got it back now. And yeah, they want sympathy. That's correct. They wanted sympathy. They wanted a way out. They looking for asylum. They looking for a place to stay. So they're squatters once again, in which they was originally by coming over from Europe. In most cases.
Whoever speaks out against this, just for being in the United States, we've been accused of treason. We've had people threatening us, saying they'll wait for us at the airport when we come back and they'll attack us.
Why can't y'all go back home? What's stopping y'all from going back home?
And so forth. We had the state president today in Parliament calling on us to go back to South Africa. So whenever you speak out against this, there's a...
So some state parliaments are telling them to go back to South Africa in order to deal with the problem. And the South Africans like, look, give us our lands. And they still giving them a chance. They like, look, but it's going to be ours. But they don't want that. They want full control. You can't have full control over some lands that you don't own. This is exactly what needs to happen here, guys.
Very serious backlash.
This is not what Nelson Mandela wanted.
No, it's the exact opposite.
Listen, this is not what, oh, remember that Mandela effect? Listen.
Nelson Mandela wanted.
No, it's South Africa. So whenever you speak out against this, there's a very serious backlash.
This is not what Nelson Mandela wanted.
No, it's the exact opposite than what he wanted. He publicly spoke about a free country in which people were not judged by the color of their skin, and he even wanted farm attacks to be a priority crime. He said that when he was president and when his presidency was over, they deprioritized it.
No, but the reason why, hold on, I'm about to drop a bomb right here. The reason why that Nelson Mandela wanted it to be a free country is because he saw how people were treating our people, or their people technically, at that time. And also, don't forget that Nelson Mandela is a Freemason. He was of a particular secret society in which he was enlisted in. I believe his position was it start with a T. He was the one that has the apron and they hold in the, and they hold the sword to welcome other people in. He had that type of position. That start with a T, y'all. What is it called, man? But that was his position. He was in Freemasonry. So of course he was cool. Tyrant, I think, was it Tyrant? Tyler, no, Tyler, that's it, Tyler. He was a Tyler, that's it. Now that particular, see? I'm glad certain people know that if we dropped the bomb for y'all. But yeah, Nelson Mandela was already with a secret society that were full of, particular knights. And, he wanted to be cool with everybody. He wanted to be cool with everybody. But keep in mind, he didn't know that they didn't have his people's best interests in mind. It was mainly for their brotherhood only and nothing outside of that. But that's a different story. That's a different topic. I'm gonna say that for a different time. So yeah, of course it was the total opposite.
Serious backlash.
This is not what Nelson Mandela wanted.
No, it's the exact opposite than what he wanted. He publicly spoke about a free country in which people were not judged by the color of their skin, and he even wanted farm attacks to be a priority crime. He said that when he was president and when his presidency was over, they deprioritized it.
So you just watched something like this happen in a neighboring country, Zimbabwe, which went from being one of the richest in Africa to the poorest in the world because of farm attacks and because of the theft of private property. Is the ANC, the ruling party in South Africa, aware of that lesson?
Yeah. Well, they are, but you know that saying, real communism has never been tried. That's what they keep saying. So it failed in Zimbabwe, it failed in Cuba, it failed in Venezuela, it failed in Russia, it failed in China, in all of those countries. And they're basically saying that we're going to try the same thing, but this time it's going to work.
So last question. It's considered basically immoral in the United States to talk to you or to hear stories like this for reasons that nobody ever bothers really to explain, but it's just understood. If you could speak to our media, the people who are dismissing your claims as false, what would you say?
Well, I think there are three things. Firstly, everything we say is fact-based. It's based on research. But in terms of what we hope to achieve and what people can do, people who want to invest in South Africa, we want them to call on the South African government to say, listen, you are calling on us to invest in your country, but you want to expropriate those investments. Number two, we are speaking with the US government and asking them to put pressure on the South African government, which could be done in a variety of ways. And number three, members of the public and members of the media, the best thing that you can do to help us is to talk about this, to talk about it on public platforms, and in that way to continue to put pressure on the South African government not to continue with this policy.
Just to tell the truth, I agree. Mr. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So now, what is the real definition of the term minority? Not to be confused any longer with the commonly known definition referring to a group of people in relation to race that has a smaller population than another group of people. No, the truth is that the definition of minority is a group of people that are being dominated and controlled by another group of people. The mistakes that were made in South Africa only highlights what I stated in my previous documentaries as to why so-called African Americans are a threat to American society. And it is also the true reason why billions are spent to keep us separated here as a people. Because if a group of particular people can no longer continue to dominate and control us physically, spiritually, and mentally, systematically, as their minority here in America, then what will be the outcome of a king and a queen checking and trapping the opposing king in a corner?
Checkmate. That's what need to happen. Put him in checkmate. So yes, that yes. It can be done. It can be done. If they could do it, we could do it. It's not an impossible task. And they didn't have to go to war. They just stopped slavery. They just stopped working for them. That's what slavery is. Y'all remember I told you it's a form of employment. It's still ongoing right now. It's just that certain people are comfortable with where they at and how much they're getting paid. And once again, they getting pennies. Our people are getting pennies to their dollars. They caking off of our labor. Still, right now. This is what has to change. So look, if you look this up right now as far as how South Africa is thriving, you're not necessarily gonna be able to see it unless you actually go there to check it out. Because the majority of this information has been pulled from the internet, like I said in the video. And once again, that was done 3 or 4 years ago because I knew they were gonna get rid of that information. As far as all of those acts I was giving you, dealing with their lands and confiscation, and then they changed it around. Hopefully, you may have to, once again, when you write all that stuff down, and if it's not there on the surface right away, you're probably gonna have to do some digging. Because back then, I did a lot of digging, okay? And it wasn't easy back then to find the majority of that information as far as the acts are concerned, the land acts in South Africa. Same thing here. This is the reason why I provided what the year is and the title of it, so you could attempt to find it on your own. Okay, the majority of this information that I present, I am going to put out as books so people can still have it regardless, and where I got it from. Okay, but the reason why I don't normally say exactly where I got it from, like as far as I tell you the source, but how did I get to it, I can't tell you because then they'll try to take it away. Okay, so I'm kind of, you got to understand where I'm coming from. But I'm still providing the information along with the sources. But man, this is all that we need to do. And then we don't have to. And then, for example, Kyrie won't have to worry about going through what he went through as far as being suspended for 5 days without pay. You just stop working for them. You create our own. At that time, they're going to be asking questions about his game, not necessarily about what he posts on his Twitter. So there was a narrative there in order to get that done. They wanted to get that done. They wanted to make it a big deal. They wanted it to be a big deal. They're watching his Twitter closely just for him. Oh, one slip up, we're going to make it a big deal. And that wasn't even a slip up, but they still made it a big deal. He did not stand with some anti-anything. Not one time. He explained his position in full detail. That still wasn't enough. They wanted him to apologize. They were trying to sucker him into apologizing. We gotta stop allowing that. No, it gotta be beyond boycotting. We gotta go beyond boycotting. We gotta just stop. Like I just showed in the video. Just stop working for him. We could do our own. Yeah, Kyrie apologized. I read it earlier. It was on his Instagram. And that, and that's really not fair to him because he didn't do anything, but they're forcing him to do that. But I'm telling you, if he had a conglomerate of people, like some type of society that we created, not necessarily a Freemason this and blah, 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 going off of any type of skull and bones and blah, 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 going off of some Greek stuff and whatever. We could create our own, and we could do it behind the scenes too, just like how they are. There's nothing secret about them. They just keep their secrets sacred amongst themselves. There's nothing secret about them. They just keep their secrets sacred amongst themselves. They out in the forefront. They out in the forefront. And see, that's another reason why I think they're trying to make him be down with one of their societies, because they're trying to make it seem like it's an attack, like he's attacking a certain particular community, and he's not. There was never an attack. There was never anything to give off that, you know, idea that you would think that he's coming out like that. But remember how they said, I don't know who started that too, and I believe it be some people behind the scenes, like let's get some group of so-called black people to start talking about certain things by coming up with a meme and everybody pass it around. Like remember how they were saying Blackout Friday, and you know, everybody said, all right, let's not buy nothing on Friday, but yet again they did. So all that stuff, you don't have to go public. You got to go behind the scenes. They don't need to know. We could talk amongst ourselves. We don't gotta have people. I mean, the small. Hold on, let me not say that, because that could be taken the wrong way. But everybody gotta know everybody. Everybody gotta be on one accord. But behind the scenes, it can't be no riffraff, or I'm coming with a pistol. I gotta have the fresh jewelry on. I gotta have this new car. It's not about showing off. It's about getting stuff done. I mean, just seriously, just walk out and say, all right, who on board? Here's the idea. You could probably state some ideas, but that don't necessarily got to be the plan or the full-fledged outcome, because we know that is going to be bigger than just the idea. Just walk out. Walk out, Kyrie. Make a statement. Like you're not going to stand for this, because all they doing, Kyrie, is trying to keep you quiet. They don't want you to be, they want you to be apologetic. They want you to suffer. They want you to lower yourself. They're trying to still make you a third-class citizen. That's how they looking at you. They looking at you like you ain't got no rights. You ain't got the right to post what you want. Listen to how that sound, y'all. You ain't got the right to post what you want. Nah, you up under this CBA, nigga. Shut up and pick up that basketball and play ball. That's their reaction. But as soon as you be like, yo, no, they being anti against me. They like, get over it. Shut up and play ball. As soon as you bring up a problem with our people, get over it. Shut up and play ball. Y'all always crying. Y'all always want this. Y'all always want that. And as soon as you didn't even do a thing to them, it's you better apologize. We're going to cut your pay. We're going to suspend you. You're going to get arrested. You're going to get fired. You're going to get belittled all over the media, because just like Kanye, just like Ye said, they controlling all of it. He wasn't lying. I've been saying that. Yeah, just shut up and dribble. Yeah, that's what they doing. That's what they doing to Kyrie right now. The modern version. Just shut up and dribble. And is that fair to our brother? Is that fair to our brother? Is that fair to our brothers and sisters right now? Absolutely not. So all we got to do is stop talking about it and do something about it. It don't necessarily mean we got to go in the media and cause commotion. It don't necessarily mean we got to write an article and post it on blogs. It just means that we need to connect and get up off the front part of the scene and go behind the scenes and quit working for them foreigners and start working for us. It's that simple. It's that simple. So I want y'all to take this message to all those people that's getting ready to get together and start talking about reparations. And I hope y'all even watching. Y'all need to bring this up when y'all talking about reparations, because it's not about getting a check from the government. They have not one time admitted to their wrongdoing to our people. Not one time. The excuse is that they have to continuously study the matter. If they're going to continuously make up excuses, how long are you willing to wait for them to say, okay, we fess up, we had enough, here, we apologize, y'all, here goes some hush money. No, you got to put the pressure on them a different way. Just like how they put the pressure on Kyrie a different way. They had control of the media, control of the news outlets, control of the vlogs, control over social media, but we don't have control over nothing. But yet you want to get together at some small establishment in DC and have a group meeting about reparations? That ain't gonna work. Going after the government, that's not gonna work. You need to have a group meeting and have discussions about building our own governments. That's what it need to be. Governments, businesses, all the way down the line, hotels, clothing stores, everybody gotta start doing it that way, because that's how they excelled, and that's how we are losing. We don't have control over nothing. You gotta listen to me. And anybody that wants to invite me to their shows to do interviews outside of the state that I'm in right now, give me some time, okay? I know there's a few people that asked me in order for me to travel there. I'm just getting back in town. I've been on the road though, because I'm back on the road recording again like how I used to do in my older videos. Get ready for that. Woo, drop a bomb. Get ready for that. So, I can't wait. I appreciate y'all for coming out. I'll go live again soon, shortly. But the next video that I'm coming out with is going to be the code that they followed as far as the foreigners getting here. What was the signal? They gave other foreigners a signal to say, hey, come on, y'all, it's safe right here. Get ready for that. That's coming out. I love y'all. I appreciate all the donations, all the memberships. I didn't get a chance to read off right away. I know for a fact that YouTube was shaking this one up, and we all know why. But that's not going to stop us, and that won't ever stop us. This is our platform. You understand what I'm saying? We work together, we stay together, we live together, we learn together, we breathe together, we eat together. We're going to build together. We're going to do this right. And we don't need everybody. It only take 13%. Y'all know what I mean. I love to rub that number back in their face. It only take 13% of us. Huh? We got this. Y'all do what y'all do. Take care of y'all families. Take care of yourselves. I love y'all. I'm gonna see y'all shortly. Be looking out for the new videos this week. Just know that they probably not gonna do the notifications. Just know I'm posting. Okay? I love y'all. Y'all take care. Wado.